boy, it has been a while, but hey, we finally got Flight 12. That was such an amazing flight. We even had the booster return. Oh, you thought I meant Starship? No, I was talking Falcon Heavy, but you want to know about Starship Flight 12? Boy, do I have some news for you. Roll the intro.
And here we go.
There's the W. Here's ignition.
Doubling up.
Did it just do a Kerbal?
Back to the moon and beyond.
Put that in the big bag, you know.
Back at home, we all have a lot of work to do, but from here, that sure looks like a perfect flow.
Propulsion continues to be normal.
We did have an observation.
Equalizer.
343 unfolds to go.
It's orange.
Water towers can fly!
Bingo! Right in the center. Where's Jacqueline? There it is!
That was surreal.
That's not what we want to see.
No! Oh my God.
Yikes, you bet. Sure. We don't need any more of these.
Welcome everybody to the Flame Trench. This is our weekly Friday news show where we go over topics that we find interesting here in spaceflight, and we get to have discussions with them with you, and things go very off the rails as long as everything is going according to plan. If it's going according to plan, then it's not going to plan, if that makes sense. I'm Sawyer Rosenstein. I will be your host for this week's TFT, but as always, I am not alone. Joining me today, let's see who comes up in the first box. It is EJ. How's it going, EJ?
Hey, what's up? That was kind of like round robin to like see who comes up first. I was like, I don't know if it's gonna be me. What's going on? How are you, chat? How's everybody?
Good. It's almost like I guess it would be Soyuz roulette instead of Russian roulette. Which rocket's popping up here? Because there's been so many rockets popping up. I don't know.
Right.
Anyway, also joining me today, I think I have to look this way for this one, is Max Evans. How's it going, Max?
Am I looking the right way?
I'm not looking the right dude. Jay, you can't do me like that. You can't do me like that, Jay. Oh my God.
Sides. It always goes left and right.
Oh, whatever. It's fine. But hello, everybody. Great start to the show here. It's been a while, but glad to be back. And there has certainly been a lot to talk about. April, the action-packed month of April is over, and now it is time to focus on the events ahead, i.e. Starship Flight 12, but more on that later.
Absolutely. And also, that will be joining us today is Ryan Weber. I don't know which direction, so I'm just going to look straight ahead. How's it going, Ryan?
Oh, I guess right. Okay, there you go.
Woo!
Hey everyone, how's it going? I'm gonna here to talk Starship Flight 12, which I don't know if anyone paid attention over the last several hours. There's some news regarding it. We'll get to that. So yeah.
Yes, and given today's date and everything happening, I guess it's very appropriate to say that today's producer, it's gonna be Jay. It is Jay Keegan pushing the buttons.
Oh my God.
I'm actually proud of myself for that. I just came up with that on the spot, so I'm patting myself on the shoulder.
I thought of it in my head, and then Sawyer did it. I'm like, I'm becoming like Sawyer. Uh-oh.
That's somebody
it-
please clip that and let that live forever. Like that was pure cinema.
Well, as Billy Joel said, you may be right. I may be crazy. Anyway, so as always,
EG's like, I'm done.
EG's like,
already,
no.
I'm
on
outta
stream
here.
today. Also joining us in commentary is Falcon Heavy. Falcon Heavy, how's it
Falcon
going? There you go.
Falcon Heavy.
Oh boy. Yes, the person in chat said very reluctant pun token. I'll still take it. As always, if you have questions, tag us at NASASpaceflight or at NSF. As always, I just ask that you try and keep it to the topic that we're discussing now, because we talk about a lot of different things, and stuff will get lost. So if you start talking about Starship now, we usually talk about Starship later. Your question and all that stuff will get totally lost in the mix of everything. So that's what we can do. So let's start things off again with it being April. I guess April showers bring May flowers, but April launches bring 5 different rockets to the Space Coast in a single month.
That didn't rhyme.
You know what? I used up all my good stuff with the May jokes, okay? Got it.
It didn't rhyme, I do have to say, though, but I think the message still made it across.
Yeah, something like that. But yes, we had, for the first time in history, 5 unique rockets launching from the Space Coast within a single month. This is a really cool graphic put out by Space Launch Delta 45, who helped support the Eastern Range for these launches. So we had, in a single month, Space Launch System, Falcon 9, Falcon Heavy, New Glenn, and Atlas V. And of those, we had multiple Falcon 9s and multiple Atlas Vs. That is amazing. So 5 unique vehicles within a month. That has only ever happened twice prior to this. The first time was February of 1965, and that was a Delta C, a Saturn I, an Atlas LV-3, and a Thor Delta. And the other time, which tied that one, was July of 1966, which was Saturn 1B, Titan II GLV, Atlas Agena, and Delta. Also crazy that Atlas has appeared in all 3 of these, going 65, 66, and 2026. But that was been a wild month, and of course, that was all capped off just the other day, because today was May, so it was capped off by the final return of Falcon Heavy on its Flight 12. That was the joke in the intro there. We finally had Falcon Heavy returning to the Space Coast after 18 months away, and boy did it deliver once it finally launched, besides delivering the payload into its correct orbit for Viasat on the Viasat 3 F3 mission. It also re-delivered its side cores to the landing zones, although instead of LZ-1 and LZ-2, this time it was LZ-2 and LZ-40, given the fact that they don't have the lease anymore for LZ-1, and technically they have LZ-2 only for Falcon Heavy landings. And now, of course, LZ-40 getting all the love, and it deserves it, because it has become my favorite landing zone that I have seen so far, given how close it is, and how loud it is, and how spectacular it is when it comes to the actual landings. But it was an absolutely beautiful launch. And the other amazing thing that the Space Force said, the Eastern Range, in regards to all this, they had a quote in their press release that said, "Projections show launch demand could reach hundreds per year by the mid-2030s," which is mind-boggling. Already this year, including today's Falcon 9 launch, they have had 32 different launches from the Cape. Last year, for the first time in history, they reached over 100 of them. So I guess given the pace that we've seen with all these different rockets and everything finally returning, and the variety to what was the world's premier multi-user spaceport, although they now just call it Earth's premier spaceport over at KSC and Cape Canaveral Space Force Station, I guess, what do we think the pace is going to be this year for Florida launches, given that we're probably going to see a slower pace now with Falcon, given all of the stuff with just read the instructions?
I mean, with the retirement of just read the instructions, I think the sentiment or the reality of a lower launch cadence for Falcon, I think is just a reality that we all kind of have to face. And even more so depending on the results of Starship Flight 12, and because essentially operations for Falcon and Starship are going to be pivoting based on the results of however Flight 12 does, whether it be success or failure. So there may be a bit of a lull here in terms of Falcon 9 launches, which have been the majority of the launch cadence here in Florida for a number of years now. But I think but also keep in mind, we also have Stoke coming in with Nova, and then also we have Terran R hopefully coming here as well for operations in the next couple of years, and that's not also including the second launch pad for New Glenn, and the Starship pad over at LC-39A, and the new pads over at Space Launch Complex 37. So we may be in a somewhat of a lull, especially just compared to what we're used to here for cadence, because I think we had over 100 launches here last year. And I think 160 and change thereabouts for SpaceX's total cadence between both the East Coast of Florida and the West Coast of California. So I think that it's probably going to be slowing down for maybe 2 or 3 years. But again, that all depends on how Starship does, but also that also depends greatly on the arrival of other medium lift launch vehicles like Nova and Terran-R in the next few years, and how well they do. Because that also depends on how the market evolves for a medium lift rocket as well. Because if there's no market, those rockets really have no reason to fly, right? And the only reason why rockets exist in the first place is for their payload. So this year is going to be one that I think back in January when we got going, I did not necessarily foresee the reduction of Falcon 9 operations happening so soon. I mean, I'm on record numerous times saying I think it'll be 5 to 10 years at least. I think closer to 10. But just based on what we're seeing now, I think it's going to be a lot closer to it could be less than 5 for all we know, depending on how Starship does. I mean, SpaceX is all in on Starship right now, and that has been the talk of the town for a number of years now. So yeah, I don't know. It's going to take some adjusting to get used to. I think that much is certain, but I'm not quite sure how you guys feel. But also, you being here as well, Sawyer, you also come out into the field sometimes and see what happens here. But we may not have that happen so much going forward with Falcon, at least.
Exactly. And I mean, we could have had 6 this month, but Vulcan is still on pause.
I wasn't going to bring up Vulcan, but yeah.
Someone had to.
We could have had, for all we know, we could have had 6 different launch vehicles flying from the Cape, but someone's solid rocket booster nozzles keep falling off.
Well,
Right,
it would have been 6 with an asterisk, dudes, just because Vulcan is Atlas 6, and you're not changing my mind about that. Anyway, continue, Sawyer.
What?
You heard me.
No.
I'm with Max on this one.
That's like calling SLS Delta 5.
I do call SLS Delta 5.
I mean, even so, Delta 5 makes way more sense than Vulcan being Atlas 6.
What? Ryan, help me out here. Tell them they're wrong.
It still uses a Centaur,
But a different
and
Centaur.
If we're gonna go
redesigned
that far,
Centaur.
I mean, we're gonna go
totally
with that.
different.
I mean, the ICPS is kind of like an upgraded Centaur, so that means the Delta program is basically Atlas, so SLS is Delta Atlas. Let's just make it chaos.
No. I mean, the
We're talking
ICPS
totally
is like
different.
the ICPS's design is literally based off of the DCSS from Delta 4. Like, it's basically just
I had to do that
minor.
just for fun, right there.
It's tweaked a smidgen to become the ICPS on SLS. It's not like going from Centaur 3 to Centaur 5 and like almost doubling your diameter and adding a second engine as its standard variation. But I digress.
We're talking totally different propellants, totally different engine design.
Yep.
I feel like it's the core stage, at least. Sure, you can say that it's
different
Atlas
propellant types
derived with Centaur, but the actual core stage itself, I feel like, makes it its own unique rocket.
Yeah, it's not even close.
That's my opinion.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one, Sawyer.
So
EJ looks
I'll go with
awfully
Atlas
puzzled.
derived, but it's not Atlas 6.
I want to hear
I think
EJ's.
I confused EJ way too much with what I just said.
I mean, how into the weeds do we want to get here? Because that would mean Delta 4 is H2 derived. If we want to really get into the weeds. Yeah, that's right. The DCSS is based off of the H2 upper stage, and so is Delta 4. How into the weeds we want to get here?
It
All
was
the way.
Thank you to the person in chat who said, yes, Atlas has always been Carolox. This is Methalox.
What? So
it's a new design. That means it's a new rocket.
That's basically like calling Starship like Falcon 33.
Right.
The funny thing is with Vulcan is, well, yes, it's different and it's newer engines and it's Methalox now. Like, the principle of Vulcan is the same exact thing as Atlas. It's a sustainer core stage with a Centaur upper stage and solid rocket boosters. It's like that's kind of where I make it an Atlas 6 in my head. Yeah, they changed the fuel design, but like the actual principle of the rocket itself is the same thing. It's the same thing.
Yep.
Kind of like I mean, that's why SLS kind of like that, because it's a sustainer stage whole thing. But whatever.
But so is Delta 4 then. Like Delta 4 also used solid rocket motors in the first stage, and all like what?
Yeah, but all right, hold up.
By the way, we need a poll in chat. We need a poll in chat just to get their vibe on it. Is it Atlas 6 or is it its own thing?
I did
its own
this.
thing, dude.
You did this.
You did this.
It's all right. It's fine. But see, like, here's the thing. When they went from Delta 2 to Delta 3, right? When McDonnell Douglas did that, right? Delta 3 is a cut down Delta 2 stage with SRBs, and then they put a Delta 4 stage on top of that and made Delta 3, right? And then the difference between Delta 3 and Delta 4 is like there might as well be two different rockets, but because it retained the same upper stage, it became Delta 4. Per that naming convention, per that rule naming convention, SLS, that stage, the DCSS moved to the ICPS, which is now an SLS. Per that naming convention, SLS is Delta 5. All right.
And why didn't ULA call Vulcan-Atlas 6?
Because they wanted to, Tory Bruno had a poll where they voted on the name. They were just going to call it Atlas 6. It's in all their documentation. Yeah. Take the L.
You can't handle the truth.
Take the L.
You can't
take the L.
Take the L. You drop this.
But
I'm trying to rebut here, but I'm struggling a little bit.
You're just gonna butt. You're not gonna rebut.
No, I'm gonna.
This is on the internet forever, folks. Just remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As is my singing, it's going to be Jay. But
while we maybe get a poll here, we'll see if we get one. I just want to put this fun fact in there. If you take the 3 super heavy lift launch vehicles that launched in the month of April, so SLS, New Glenn, and Falcon Heavy together, they're about 18 million pounds of thrust, give or take. Booster 19 with we think the R3s are going to be running at 250 tons. Booster 19 alone is 16.5 million pounds. So just Flight 12's booster is almost as powerful as 3 super heavy lift rockets combined. Which is
Mind you,
hilarious.
Raptor 3 is only going to get more powerful as time goes on. By probably a factor of like 25% here in the next maybe year or so.
And that'll be, I mean, of course, New Glenn's going to get more powerful too, but then, of course, you get R3 up to 280 tons per engine, and then you even and then if they're lucky enough to be able to get it up to the 300-ton range that they want to get it to, it's just kind of nuts to think that a single booster is nearly as powerful as those 3 rockets combined. It's kind of hilarious to think about.
And that's the version 3 starting point.
Yeah,
that's what's also mind-boggling. Like this is just the early This is Booster 19 and Ship 39 are the early version 3 variants. Version 3, just like we've seen with Falcon 9, moving into Block 4 full thrust into Block 5. Even Block 5 was still going through some evolution during its lifespan, even though technically the Block 5 design was supposed to be frozen, so NASA could certify it to fly crew. But they've been able to extract more performance out of the Merlins, and as a result, a key example of this is for Crew 1 or DM2, because that was technically the first crew launch with Falcon. DM2 through Crew 7 or 8, they had to perform a downrange landing with the booster on a drone ship, and after that, because of the performance that they were able to find through Starlink missions and just pushing the engines beyond what they were initially rated for, they were able to gain enough propellant margin in the booster to bring the booster back to the LZ for an onshore recovery. And we're going to see some more of that with the version 3 vehicle moving on to version 4 here in the next maybe 2 to 3 years. But version 3 has a lot ahead of it. It is what the HLS, or the human landing system, is going to be based on, for Starship at least. So yeah, it's there's a lot coming. There's a lot coming down the line for Starship, and other rockets here as well.
I just want to point out really quick, we have 2 different SLSs on screen. We have the actual launch, and then we have the sun shirt that Max is wearing that is SLS. I just want to point that out. There you go.
It's cropped in, you can't see it. Oh, whatever.
The resemblance is uncanny.
Well, one thing, I just want to say this from Ethereal Swordsman. This made me laugh. A $2 super chat. Atlas 5 is basically just 1/2 Zenit. And he's not wrong. The RD-180 is basically 1/2 of an RD-170 engine.
But does that quantify the booster is half a Zenit or like a fraction of a Zenit?
No, it means Atlas is Buran Energia derived.
There you go. Yeah.
Which means shuttle derived. There we go. We brought it back. Shuttle
yeah, that's right.
Like
Shuttle derived.
Oh boy. Anyway.
You guys want to hear another one?
We were talking about. There could have been 6 different named vehicles launching this past month, but alas, we did not have that. Let's word it that way.
Eventually we will, though.
There it is. Shuttle derived problem.
Well, although, that being said, though, like we're not too far away from that being a reality. Probably, maybe once or twice a year, depending on how operations go with Nova and Terran R and every other rocket that is currently in operation here on the Eastern Range as well. Because do we want to include Wallops in this? Because they're still technically in the Eastern Range, and we could have as many as 3 rockets flying from Wallops here in the next 2 to 3 years, being Electron.
Wasn't there a suborbital Electron though in April? So that wouldn't count.
Yeah, let's not get too hasty there.
Wow.
Nice.
Wow.
Nice.
Wow.
Wow.
Yep. Sawyer's fault.
You're welcome.
Sawyer derived problem.
Sawyer derived pun problems.
By the way, I did see someone say in chat earlier, you're all wrong. Vulcan is clearly New Glenn 0.5.
I mean, that to me makes even more sense, but hey.
With solids.
But yeah, so I mean, that's pretty wild. When do you think that record will be beat? When do you think we will see either 6 or more, I don't want to say the next number, 6 or more launches in a month at this rate?
Probably next year.
Of different vehicles.
Next year.
I mean, think about it. Next year, depending on a Falcon Heavy launch here and there, you could have a Falcon Heavy, a Falcon 9, a Starship flight, Relativity, or Stoke, or both, plus Vulcan and Atlas 5 and New Glenn all in the same month.
Well, Atlas 5 would have to rely on Starliner actually launching, but yeah.
Yeah.
How many launches does it have left?
I think
of
2
the
or
551, 3. Only 2. The rest are all Starliner.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's a shame.
Oh God, I don't like how that feels. Only 2 more non-Starliner.
Wasn't it like 15, like 2 days ago?
Does that mean the last Atlas 5 we're going to see is the most disgusting looking rocket and one of the most disgusting looking rockets in history?
N-22.
Yes.
That is such a horrible
That's exactly
way
what that
for
means.
such a cool rocket to go out. I don't like that.
The bad way for it to go out is launching people into space? Question?
No. The way it looks.
Aesthetics.
Aesthetics wise, that thing.
It's also like an obvious term with it obviously not using the 5 meter or the 4 meter payload fairings either way, because obviously Starliner takes the place of that up top. The N-22 also uses different solid rocket motors compared to the standard cargo Atlas 5s that we see now. What we see them using now is the GEM 63 SRBs, which are the slightly shorter variants of the GEM 63 XLs, which are used on Vulcan. Whereas on the Starliner equipped Atlas, they use the AJ60s, which are an older design, but they are crew rated. They have less performance overall, but they're a much safer design. So in a way, we have I mean, they're very different configurations of Atlas, both the 551 and the N22, beyond what we're seeing like on the surface. But that's going down into
That's
a rabbit hole
quibbling.
itself.
We're gonna start going down more rabbit holes here.
Can I just say, like, while Atlas is on its way out here, that whoever, the Lockheed engineers that threw together that architecture, that they were cooking. They were cooking with this one. Up to 5 SRBs, a single common core variant, right? You could have 2 different upper stages. You could have 7 technically, including the Not 22 different types of fairings, right?
Yep.
It's actually, that's actually impressive for rocket architecture. That thing can literally do anything. It's pretty good, man.
And it's even weirder because like the Atlas, they didn't the SRB mounting points on the Atlas V booster aren't symmetric. Like they literally just fit on the SRBs where they have space for it on the exterior because they have to avoid plumbing and valves and in portholes, all of that, just to mount the SRBs where they have enough room, and that's why. Exactly. And like that's why you see with the 5 SRB variant, you have 3 on one side and two on the other. But even on the N22, where you would think, because it has 2 solid rocket motors, you'd think it'd be symmetrical. It's not. They're still slightly off cantered to each other. So if you're looking either top down or bottom up through like a diagram or something, they're still off center. So it's really strange. It's really bothersome depending on what level of OCD you have. But that also means you have some really cool Atlas configurations that have flown, including those with 1 SRB that literally like canters and like flies sideways off the pad. It's amazing.
Yeah, but it's hard to think that it's very possible before the summer is out, we will see the end of Atlases with fairing.
Do you think it's going to be that soon? I mean, they have been knocking these Amazon Leo equipped Atlases out like clockwork lately. They got 2 off in a month. Like that is a rapid cadence for ULA.
27-day turnaround, including a rollout to launch in under 24 hours, which ULA has never done in the history of ULA.
I think it was actually closer to 18, which is even more insane.
Exactly. That's what I mean. I think they're going to want to get them out because Leo's behind schedule. They want to get as many of them up as they can. It's not like they have Vulcan taking up the pad that they have to worry about getting those missions out in the meantime. So might as well use up the Atlas fleet, complete those contracts, and while you get Vulcan back online, get out the last of these Atlases. So I don't want them to go away fast, but I think that's probably what's going to end up happening, that in the next couple months we will see these final 2 551s fly.
And until that happens, when that happens, until ULA can get the SRB adventures, dare I say, figured out with Vulcan, don't know when they're going to be launching again. Unless they want to fly a non-SRB configured Vulcan, a VC0, which would be absolutely epic, I think. But I know that there's already been interest, I think, from the DoD and the NRO and the Space Force already in a non-SRB configured Atlas. But depending on the payload size, the weight, and the mission parameters at hand there, it's not the most capable flying variant of Vulcan, dare I say. Like, they have to literally underfuel the core booster just to even get an above 1-to-1 thrust to weight. I mean, it's gonna look awesome, because you won't have any SRBs obstructing the views of the BE4s on the core stage, and it'll probably have a similar thrust to weight as an Atlas V with no solids off the pad. So it'll literally be crawling off the pad. Like it's the most unnerving thing to see the first time you see it, because it's so slow. Not quite. I mean, maybe it's New Glenn Flight 1 slow. I'm not quite sure. I'd have to do a back-to-back video, a replay of both. But either way, they're very slow off the pad. But I think Vulcan, it's going to be, I want to say, probably 4 to 6 more months before we see Vulcan again at the earliest.
The last one of those was the Amazon Proto flight for then Kuiper. So we would have to pull that up and see. That was the last 0 SRB Atlas that ever flew. It would be amazing to see how slow that is. And I can't wait to see the 0 SRB Vulcan as much as I want to see the 6 SRB Vulcan as well. But Then again, you want the SRBs actually working first. Probably make the most sense. So.
Yeah.
It's, we don't want smart reuse SRBs. That's probably not good for them.
Yeah, probably not.
Smart reuse coming soon, of which Tori said he set them up for it, and about that.
It's not happening, is it, bros?
Yeah,
I was genuinely
Gateway is still happening. It's only on pause.
I was genuinely puzzled when Tori publicly said I left ULA on a good track for smart reuse when they're already 4 to 6 years behind in that program, and they've only had really one test flight of a subscale inflatable heat shield. Like I don't I don't know about that.
I mean, it's a cool concept with the inflatable heat shield, but I don't know.
Why is everybody screaming in the back channel?
Because there's something really cool I see Jay has up in the preview. Speaking of slow rockets, at least slow at liftoff, we have New Glenn that we were talking about. Take a look at this. This was posted by Dave Limp just, 5:36, 1 minute ago, saying, cool video of New Glenn's fairing re-entry. For this flight, we installed an exo-atmospheric reaction control system in the fairing to control re-entry and enable recovery of the fairing. We're planning a parachute recovery later this year, and the data from these fairings, loading the rest, gives us the learnings needed to develop and refine that capability.
It's like a bird trying to flap.
Hyping up the crowd, like, come on, hands up, yeah, come on.
The fact that it actually made it all the way to the water in mostly, if not in completely one piece, is very impressive. But I do have to say, Blue loves using the word exo-atmospheric.
It really
because that's also how that's also how they describe the reentry burn.
I got a question.
Exo-atmospheric deceleration burn.
Yeah, the exo-atmospheric deceleration burns because they don't want to say supersonic retropropulsion, which is whatever. All right. But this one I don't understand. Like, exo-atmospheric reaction control system, like as opposed to an intra-atmospheric reaction control system, because those, like, brother, you could just say you put a reaction control system on it.
Yeah.
Fellas, the dirty secret, like, I just want to say, like, the dirty secret is that most fairings have RCS on them, even for expendable rockets. How do you think they get the fairings to separate?
Yeah.
There's thrusters in the fairings and they push them away from each other. That's how they get them to separate. Everyone does this. Like, I'm sure that Dave's talking about, like, other thrusters to get the fairing to steer through reentry, but also, like,
why? Yeah, are you calling it that?
Yeah. You want to be different,
I mean, they also the Blue naming convention drives me up the wall.
Oh,
I mean,
man, it's so bad.
When we're talking about raising or lowering the rocket, what is it? Upending and downending is the term that they use. Now we have this exo-atmospheric reaction control system. The way that they name their stages, besides the actual cool names that we hear publicly, I don't know. The naming conventions that Blue uses is just like, okay. That's,
God, I can't get over how much.
Say it.
I can't get over how much that flexes.
Like, you have to, you gotta remind yourself what you're looking at here. So this camera is looking at a fairing that's 8 meters wide.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's carbon fiber. A thin carbon fiber that's 8 meters wide. That flap is likely imparted from the separation, and they would very much need to probably stabilize that before reentry.
There's actually
to prevent damage to it.
There's actually a couple of frames there a few seconds ago where you could actually see the contrail from launch. I noticed that.
They'll have to stabilize that. They can do that with RCS. And then orient it correctly for reentry, and then deploy like a parafoil or something off of it and recover it. It'll take a few tries to do it, especially with a fairing of this size. It's not like it's a smaller Falcon 9 fairing. These things are huge compared to the Falcon 9 fairings.
Falcon 9
I think they're actually
could fit inside of it.
I think they're actually the largest payload fairings currently flying in the world right now, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
The only thing that would have been larger is if SLS ended up getting its own fairings, which it never did.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, you don't know that. It still could happen, all right? I can
It
dream.
could still happen.
Yeah, Gateway can still happen. New Shepard is still possible.
Yeah.
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 Anyway, but yeah, that is so cool just seeing that now. And again, that was another one from the cave this month. So once the rocket gets back in to flight again, to be able to see them try and recover the fairings, I can't wait to see what vessel they use to recover those and bring them back in.
They're going to use a boat. In case you didn't know.
You think they'll fish them out with
Thank
Jacqueline or
goodness
something?
there's a camera and an internet between us, or
If I were
I would run your toes over.
If I were them, I'd use like Harvey Stone or find a vehicle like Bob and Doug to use a crane to fish them out. And then if you don't have a ship big enough to put it on the deck, just put it on the deck of Jacqueline and
What
tow
did
it back
they
in.
use? What did they use when they did the testing of it in the Turn Basin? Because they did testing at one point of recovering New Glenn fairings right in the Turn Basin where Pegasus is currently parked.
If I'm not mistaken, they just that was more to test how to grab them and how to lift them, not how to place them. I think the task there was to safely pick them up out of the water and place them on the ground, not on an actual boat. I could be wrong there. It could be a little bit off, but I think that was the main purpose of those tests.
Yeah, someone said just borrow Pegasus. I mean, it would fit in it. The problem is the crane to actually get them out. So
yeah.
Oh boy. So let me go through some support here. And
you guys want to see the size of that thing? That's the footage I just linked up for Jay. Look at that. That fairing is not small.
You could fit New Shepard in the entire payload fairing assembly.
Yeah. Look at the people walking next to it. It is no joke, man. I mean, you know, me being picky about the naming convention aside, that is the fact that thing came down and didn't. I'm frankly amazed it didn't shatter when it hit the water. It looked like maybe a piece of it come off, but
the fact that it's mostly intact, the video's still running, and you could still recognize the shape of it is unbelievable.
Yeah. Fairings usually, when they hit the water, they usually shatter a lot. They break off.
But I guess one thing that these fairings have going for them is surface area, right? So they create a lot of drag and probably have a very slow terminal velocity compared to a lot of other fairings. And mind you, if Blue Origin, I mean, we already see this with SpaceX's payload fairings on both Falcon 9 and Falcon Heavy. The payload fairings in themselves are their own spacecraft. They already have their own onboard avionics and navigation systems to help them stay oriented in the right direction during atmospheric reentry, and to have the parachutes deployed at the correct altitude for a safe splashdown. Obviously, Blue Origin would have to undergo the same sort of design process with New Glenn's fairings there as well, if they haven't already. And I would not be surprised if a prototype of that system flew of sorts on Flight 3, just given how well we saw it move, I guess, in there as well. But the fact that it hit the water like somewhat tumbling and didn't hit it like with the folded side hitting the water, or the outside of the fairings hitting the water first, it may be a bit more tricky than they initially thought to control them. But once they get the parachute system figured out, that should solve all of those problems. But these fairings are much bigger and a lot probably more difficult to control because of it. But again, like one thing these fairings have going for them is they have a lot of surface area to create drag and slow them down, and bring it down to a safer speed to either deploy parachutes and or splash down. So, yeah, there's certainly a massive design challenge.
Yeah, and that's how gentle that was without parachutes.
Yeah.
Good point. Yeah. That's how gentle that still was. Unbelievable. All right, we got a bunch of support backed up here that I want to make sure we thank everybody. Don't Panic became a Pad Rat member even before we went live here. Alex Daniels saying, go NSF, go Starship. Thanks for the great coverage and great discussion, y'all. Hope for some reckless speculation and what ifs after one of the greatest months in launches that I can remember. That's a good way to put it. One of the greatest months in launches. We had people to the moon. We had 2 heavy lift vehicles. all from the Cape. We had GPS satellite. We had a bunch of landings back on land and on drone ships. Multiple different vehicles landing on drone ships, by the way. Falcon and New Glenn. Unbelievable.
It's pretty good, dude.
Jasper, yep. EJ?
I was just saying, it's pretty good, man. That's pretty cool. That's
Too shabby.
it's a lot of different stuff. April was kind of hectic.
I mean,
Man.
we've been kind of bracing for that since like January because we all knew Artemis 2 was coming, right? We all knew New Glenn Flight 3 was coming, and we knew that a Falcon Heavy would eventually come back around again, but we didn't know exactly when. But all three decided to coincide in the same month with each other. It would have been even more hectic, and I'm honestly kind of glad it didn't happen. But if Flight 12 was also tossed into that equation, oh boy, that would have created a lot of headaches for us here on the ground. But yeah, I think that was, the most chaotic month I've ever had covering spaceflight here in Florida. I think in my 5 years of doing this, that was insane.
I've been doing this now. This will be my 15th year on site as media, and I agree. This is the craziest month, most hectic month, and coolest month I've ever been a part of in spaceflight. At least as long as I've been alive and covering this. So that was unbelievable. So cool. I mean, hopefully we get a chance to crash this month and actually get a little bit of sleep to catch up, which thank you, SpaceX, for backing down on Starlinks a bit so we can. But yeah, this is wild.
Just wait for the month that Artemis 3 happens in. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah. Ooh.
Because that's going to be
Oh, boy.
SLS plus
Yeah.
Starship, possibly
Yep.
also in New Glenn with their lander for all rendezvous and docking if they do both. Plus Falcons, plus probably a Vulcan. I don't know if it'd be hilarious if a Falcon Heavy lined up on that month, but who knows?
I mean,
Either way,
Renee's going to be a little busy at that point.
that's going to be a
Yeah.
chaotic month. Yeah.
Oh, looks like the poll is done.
Yeah.
What were the results? Oh, look.
Looks
Vulcan
like
is Atlas
54% of the poll in chat are wrong.
Yeah, 54% said Vulcan is just Atlas 6. 46% said it's a totally unique own vehicle, which that was closer than I thought it was going to be. I'll say that.
Hey,
I won't say which side, but I'll say it's closer than I thought.
hey, Max, so you dropped this.
Wow.
Why do you just have that?
What?
He just felt inclined to Google that now.
Oh, no.
No, I've had that in the bank. I've been waiting for the right time to use it in all my time covering spaceflight.
Please tell me you don't just keep a random L at your desk.
No.
Ooh.
No.
Ooh.
I mean, that would be good. I'd probably deserve it, but no.
That would be
I
very
don't.
EJ of you to do. Just saying.
Well, that would be an E and a J, not an L.
Touche.
Wow.
Anywho.
What? We're supposed
Sorry.
to show or something here?
Sorry, I'm not, because I'm not doing too well over here. I'll be all right. I swear.
Is this? We're supposed to be doing a show, aren't we? Oh yeah.
Yeah, something like that.
Artemis 3? Or what's next?
Oh.
I don't even know what's
No,
next.
Well-
we're not done yet.
Not yet.
No?
But wait, there's
Ryan,
more.
I'm the host. I'm
No,
your
we're
host,
not-
Sawyer
we're
Rosenstein.
not done.
I was just asking a generalized question, Sawyer. I'm sorry.
This is number 50. We're not done.
You're talking to the master of transitions here. When it comes time to transition, I will transition it. Okay? Shazbird saying Flight 12 net set, let's go. Yes, we'll be talking about that in a little bit. Bideford with the $25 super chat saying, here's for a great evening of discussion. Wouldn't be the same without you guys. Hugs all. Well, thank you. Grizz with the boop. And then Oliver with the beep.
Beep.
Methane Man with a $50 tip at tips.nasaspaceflight.com. Thank you for the direct way of supporting that. We appreciate that as well. Saying camera maintenance. Oh, and I saw what you did, EJ. You know what I'm talking about. Winky tongue out face.
What? I do?
He's just getting called out here in chat. What could
What
this
did I do?
possibly mean?
Apparently, you
Bronco.
know what you did.
You know
I
what you
guess.
did.
Yeah, you know what you did,
You know
EJ.
you did.
You know what you did.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Also,
I'm sorry.
John Moline coming in saying, so EJ, since SLS has RS-25 engines and solid side boosters, does that make it the next edition of Space Shuttle?
Stop it.
No, it's Delta 4. It's Delta 5. It's Delta 4 derived. It's Delta rocket technically now.
Ethereal Swordsman saying, I kind of agree with Drunar. Vulcan is New Glenn 2 X Centaur. The SRBs don't count because they don't actually work.
No, the Blue Origin's naming convention is terrible. Stop trying to make it happen. It's not going to happen. Okay.
I'm gonna have to I genuinely, this is not me just trying to be. This is not me trying to disagree for the sake of it.
You sure about that?
I don't think. You sure about that? I don't think Blue Origin's naming schemes are that bad. I really don't. Like Glenn Stage 1, I don't really care. Glenn Stage 2, don't really care. Like BE4, BE3, BE3U, it doesn't really bother me. I'm sorry.
It's not those. It's when you try and figure out, what is it, GS1-7EO, whatever the naming is for that. Again, upending, downending.
Actually, you didn't say it right, though. It's GS1. It's New Glenn GS1 7x2. There's a difference.
Okay, pardon me. Excuse me, sir. Pardon me.
Man.
You don't see how that could get confusing? Like real fast?
Chat just said Falcon 9x1.
Please don't ever call it that ever again.
As opposed to Falcon 9 booster B1058-26.
Yeah,
Block 5.
Starship 33x6. There you go.
We're just so used to saying everything else. Oh, we have to adapt our naming schemes for other LSPs and their other boosters. Oh, I don't like this.
Yes.
He's getting red. He's not orange. He's turning red.
Me?
Yeah, he's not matching the shirt anymore. The sun shirt available at shop.nasaspaceflight.com.
Hey.
And then
turn Max into a plug.
He's the one
always be plugging
for it.
Don't agree with him, Max.
I have genuinely been wearing so we're now getting into these summer months here in Florida, and it's getting to the point where it was almost 90 degrees Fahrenheit today. And what is that in Celsius? Like 33?
It's in the 30s. Just say,
in the 30s.
Don't do math in public, dude. Just say it's in the 30s.
Jesus. Okay. Well, it was in the 30s. Right? It was in the 30s Celsius. And this is these sun shirts are genuinely like 90% of what I wear, just because I'm not trying to get myself burned like crazy, even though I still kind of do sometimes. They do come in great. They're very handy. They're very handy.
Yes, and you do come with the SRBs attached as well.
Yes, I do.
Max,
I love it.
So if we cut your sleeves and rip your sleeves off like Cleater style, is that like staging or something? Or
I think you might have to detach my arms for that to actually be real. I don't know.
Wait, they don't come off?
No.
Come on.
No, your arms are just the attachment points. That's all it is.
Yeah, my shoulders are the actual joints.
That sounds
totally
painful.
Fine.
It's quite painful, actually. It's the SRBs have a lot of thrust, and they all have to go through my shoulder. It can get kind of rough.
Well, if your SRBs are doing most of the lifts, does that mean SLS is doing a handstand when it takes off?
I guess the question then is, do you even heavy lift, bro?
Do you even heavy lift,
Jesus Christ.
Yes, Max heavy lift, bro, because he's got the heavy lift boosters.
Oh my God.
Makes sense.
Lord help.
I hate myself.
Help. Help.
Speaking of naming stuff here, Drunar talking about, how the fairings will be recovered with an intra-atmospheric amphibious asset. I like that. That's clever.
Just no.
Feep saying everything is a V2, except for the V1.
What?
That was not a V2. And then Telstar. It took me a lot of Shuttle Sunday rewatches with you guys explaining the flight numbers for me to understand them, and now companies are trying to confuse us again. Yeah, sounds about right.
Welcome to spaceflight.
Exactly. And along those lines, JC Davis saying, so SpaceX can name everything star something and get away with it?
Oh no, I hate that too.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
that's
Oh.
so
The whole Starship
that's so tough
program
to keep track of.
and the star naming is one of the dumbest things SpaceX has ever done. I'm sorry.
Yeah, see,
It
we
really is.
we equally hate naming conventions that don't make sense
It's-
across the board.
It's
You know?
so
I-
dumb.
I'm gonna have to once again disagree. I really don't mind it at all.
Oh my god.
have to say.
Starship, which is the ship with super heavy, with the Star Factory. Oh, don't even start with how dumb Gigabay and Megabay sound. It's just so stupid. Starlink
as opposed to two
what is
cat?
it? The Star Bricks is the name for their heat shield tiles. Like, it's so stupid. Stop
As
it.
opposed to 2-cat and T-cat. Like, bro, come on.
Oh, that is dumb
Come on.
too. It's dumb too. But the
we're just hating everyone tonight, dude. We're
No
just plain
mercy.
hating right now.
See, what I think is a better name for Boca Chica. It's not Starbase, but the Boca Chica shipyards.
That sounds
What?
so bad, dog.
Your
That-
Trekkie is
I'm not,
showing.
I don't.
I'm not gonna lie, dude. That's no.
Don't care.
That's a hard no
Agreed.
from me, dog.
No thanks. But I did see someone say earlier, are you guys okay? You seem broken.
Yeah.
Yes.
All four of us haven't been together like this in quite some time. Like, we have some stuff to get off our shoulders.
Yeah, like your boosters.
You beat me to
True.
it, EJ. Darn it.
True.
And
Now,
then
if I just take my hat off and throw it away, is that the
Bearing separation
the
confirmed.
LAS jettison?
yeah, it is actually. Ethereal Swordsman saying raptors are feet. There you go.
Raptors have feet.
I mean, someone in the Discord at one point did take you wearing the sun shirt and attach an upper stage where your head is and an Orion capsule on top.
Yeah, someone did. That was rather
remember
enjoyable. That
when-
was quite funny.
Kevin put my head on top of a couple of different rockets. I don't remember when that happened. It was a while ago with TFT.
Wait, he
though.
did? I didn't
Yeah,
see
he
that.
did. It was
I
a long
remember that.
time ago. I don't know if those pictures are still around.
Oh,
Well, I do want to point out, adding to the craziness of April, speaking of the Orion capsule, forgot to mention that the Orion capsule is actually back in Florida now too. So not only did it launch from Florida, but it returned to Florida as well. You could see there on the screen this from Taylor Hose, who is the lead closeout member for Artemis 2. Integrity is back home. It made that little transfer there and then into the payload processing facility that they have there, the MPPF. So it is back, folks. Orion,
Integrity is
look
home.
at that. It's so
I'm
toasty.
honestly amazed
good.
that KSC was allowing employees to come look at it today and release photos. Like, this is, I didn't think that we get to see it like this so soon. But there she is.
She
Integrity
looks
in all of
good.
her in all of her post-flight glory. Freshly back from the moon. That's glorious. That's glorious to see. She looks, all things considered, considering what that spacecraft had to endure and how far it went and how fast it traveled coming back into our atmosphere, it looks good. Like, Integrity looks really, really good.
Come to think of it, I do like to brag. I'm mighty proud of that ragged old flag.
Yeah,
Still on there,
Yeah.
dudes.
The meatball
yeah.
and the American flag made it through.
they did. And I wonder what the math is then for the average speed, given that in 28-ish days when it arrived back here, it went from Cape Canaveral to the moon, around the moon, back, splashed down in San Diego, and then made it back here in under a month. That is some wicked speed.
Over 700,000 miles.
Plus the cross-country distance, too.
Yep.
Well, average speed, take into account speed at perigee in an eccentric orbit, right? Apogee at lunar semi-major axis, right? Right? We can do this. We can do this.
You mean
All right.
Apple?
This is all you. I studied journalism, so I don't have to do math.
So I don't know. Okay, so let me think here. More or less 25,000 miles an hour at perigee in that type of orbit. And I think the slowest speed that I saw from Artemis 2 was like 1,000, but it was hard to say the reference frame, if the reference frame was in relation to the moon or in relation to Earth. As long as we're staying in a reference frame relative to Earth, I'd say like an average speed, probably, I mean, split the difference, right? Like, but then again, you have to take into account Keplerian physics, right? Of how stuff spends more time or less time at perigee, right? So I don't know. I'd guess like an average speed of like 8 to 10,000 miles an hour, somewhere in there. That's 16,000 kilometers an hour. I mean, if you said what's the average speed, right? Like that's some rough napkin math.
African or European?
I don't know that.
Oh man, but yeah, no, that's pretty impressive, I gotta say. So yes,
Yeah.
Orion, Orion is already back, and talk about moving quickly. So Orion is back in Florida, and Max, something else for Artemis is now in Florida. See, Ryan, that's how you do the transition.
I mean, okay, so literally 1 month ago today, Artemis 2 launched, almost to the hour. We're about right? No. Yeah, almost to the hour, like or minute. Like we're within an hour of one month. Yeah. Artemis 1 launched, and then just a few days ago on the 28th, the Artemis 3 core stage, or most of it, was delivered and offloaded from the Pegasus barge straight from the Michoud assembly plant in Louisiana. Not even like Artemis 2 is like just weeks finished, and we're already unloading hardware and prepping hardware for our next mission in the Artemis program. Not going to the moon, but rather a very important demonstration, hopefully, of both HLS contracted landers, being that from Blue Origin and from SpaceX. And the reason why I say this is most of the core stage, the engine section is at this end of the core stage that you're seeing now with that blue Boeing cover. That is where the actual boat tail is going to be mounted, and then all four RS-25s respectively. So essentially, the move going forward from NASA is they're going to do most of the work in Michoud and then essentially ship the core stage as it is here, like you see here, and then finish the assembly work in this sort of blue assembly truss fixture or truss structure inside of High Bay 2 in the vehicle assembly building. So essentially what they have to do is, as I just said, they have to mount or finish the engine section, mount all four RS-25s, finish those twin exterior transfer tubes from the LOX tank, and an assortment of other small bits of work that can be done in Florida. So I think, I mean, guys, we're less than 1 month after Artemis 2 launched, and we're already prepping for Artemis 3, hopefully launching at some point in the second half of next year. But dude, this is wild, considering how long we had to wait after Artemis 1 to see Artemis 2's core stage delivered here in Florida, and now we're already seeing bits of hardware delivered for Artemis 3, on top of some SRB segments already being delivered as well, and currently undergoing processing at a different facility at the Kennedy Space Center. They also, I believe, the LVSA, or the Launch Vehicle Stage Adapter, it is on site at the Kennedy Space Center, and if not completely ready for stacking when that time comes. But that being said, though, I don't think, as wild as this is going to sound, I don't think SLS is going to be the bottleneck in launching Artemis 3 on time. And considering the other factors that we have at play here, both on the side of Blue Origin and that of SpaceX as well, do we still think a 2027 launch target is still feasible for Artemis 3? And I want to go around the room on this one.
Like, I'll go first. I'll say,
oh boy,
NASA is going to be waiting on SpaceX and Blue Origin, which is a phrase I don't think any of us would think anyone would say when, especially in the past regarding Artemis, especially before they redid the Artemis program, which mission did what, that NASA's going to be waiting on them, because basically you look at Starship, and we'll talk about Flight 12 a little bit later, but you look at where Block 3 has to work in order to get them to get HLS working, and right now it hasn't flown at all, and that entirely hinges on Flight 12. They're like, it's so much hinges on that flight. It's kind of ridiculous at this point. But that has to work, and then a couple more flights have to work, and then they have to get HLS working. They have to get probably 39A up and running, and then hopefully they can catch up and be ready to actually do Artemis 3. Blue Origin, they have their Mark 1, which is back in Florida. That needs to launch. That needs to go well so that they can get to Mark 2, and then they can get that to work well, and then do a rendezvous with that as well. If they plan on doing both during Artemis 3, or if one's ready and one's really not ready at all or not close, they just decide to do one or the other. Neither of them are really closer than another. SpaceX could make that massive leap if the first few flights of Block 3 are perfect. If Mark 1 is perfect, then Blue Origin will have a pretty good step as well. But I think, honestly, they're both kind of in the same realm right now. They need their initial flight test to go perfect, and NASA's going to wait on them. Will it make it next year? Maybe by end of year. I'll say that, maybe. But NASA's going to be waiting. It's kind of hilarious, honestly.
We also have to consider that, we still have yet to see any real tangible hardware from Starship HLS to this point. We can only really speculate, and I keep saying this on Starship Update like almost every week, that the only nose cone that we have not seen in Star Factory since September is Ship 44. And because of that, we have this wild speculation that maybe that's HLS hardware, or maybe that's being scrapped because they found some errors in it, whatever. We haven't seen, besides renders like this and also renders of the interior of the Starship HLS, we have not seen any physical, tangible hardware. And even though we have from Blue Origin, Mark 1 itself is a subscale variant of Mark 2, which itself is much bigger and needs to be certified to carry people. That's also not including the fact that New Glenn is currently grounded due to an issue they had on GS2 during the recent Bluebird 7 mission. So I would have to agree with you there, Ryan. And also we have to consider that SLS is going to have a much easier road for it ahead of time compared to Artemis 1 and 2, in that there's a great possibility that they are not going to be launching with an ICPS for Artemis 3, which will save them a lot of time in processing and assembly, and this one less thing to do and check off during the wet dress rehearsal, which they may or may not do with Orion already on it. And they might do, I guess, what I've heard some people lovingly call it, a headless wet dress rehearsal with nothing else on top of the core stage yet besides the LVSA. So still a lot yet there to be seen and learned about how Artemis 3 is going to go on the fronts of both NASA and both of their contracted HLS providers. But hardware, the momentum is already rolling in the Artemis 3 direction, and there's no stopping it unless there is a major issue. But the core stage getting to KSC and getting into the VAB, as we saw just a few days ago, is a big step in the right direction. And we should be seeing it, hopefully, we may see the vehicle stacked by the end of the year. I'm not entirely sure on timelines about that. I'd have to check back in with Philip Sloss on that one, or the PAOs at KSC. But it's just an orange tube. It's a big orange tube, or a big orange hot dog, as I have also lovingly joked more than once over the past few days.
Hey, fellas.
Yes.
I was gonna say, I agree with you guys that I don't think that this thing is going. Maybe the end of 2027 for the commercial landers, but I have, I was just sitting here thinking while you guys were talking about this, and
Dangerous.
yes, I know. Some smoke came out, dude. Like, it's just like, like I'm like, oh, that's not good. But okay, how about we take Artemis 3, right? How about we take Artemis 3 and we put a dud ICPS up there, like you were saying, and then do the exact same mission as Artemis 2, but core stage direct insertion to high Earth orbit. Think about it for a second. All right. The ICPS was basically fully fueled when they separated from it. If you don't have the ICPS on there, you're going to get the Delta V from the core stage. Have the core stage do a high Earth orbit insertion, right? And I'm saying like launch Artemis 3 like in the spring, right? And then you save your last ICPS for Artemis 4 and you use that for your landers. And then you do your landing with their revised Centaur architecture or something. Anything to keep the flight cadence going. Because SLS is not the bottleneck anymore, which is hilarious to me. I can't believe that actually happened. Right?
A lot can happen.
The reason I even bring this up, like, is because you got to keep Jared Isaacman has been talking about like, oh, your skills are atrophying. We can't launch every 3 years. Well, guess what? Now you're waiting on other launch vehicles. So maybe find a way to, I don't know, launch more. Right. And if it means just doing another lunar flyby, I'm pretty sure ain't nobody going to be upset about that. Right. Nobody going to be upset about that. I mean,
I feel like at this point, the whole thing is to progress the program forward. And the only way to do that next, besides the actual going out to the moon and getting into an orbit, is to test out the landers. So, I mean, the other benefit that Artemis has, or that SLS has in this case, is the fact that you're not having to go for a lunar trajectory where you only have, 6 days worth of launches where you can reasonably hit your target. If you're going for even, say, a high Earth orbit, with a 24-hour orbital period, that means once a day, every day, you have that launch opportunity. And depending on if you go for an even lower orbit, then you might even have 2 opportunities in a day or every 18 hours if, say the weather is off. So, I mean, how many times am I going to say I mean? But I really want to see this mission fly. And I really hope there's at least a lander ready by next year. I think SpaceX really is going to have to pick up the pace, which I know once they get V3 up and running, they're going to. I'm a little bit more worried about New Glenn. I mean, the fact that they at least have Mark 1, even if they have to use a version of Mark 1, like a 1.5 as a dummy model they can use for this test, cool. I really hope they can do it next year. I'm going to keep my fingers crossed that there will be at least one lander ready in time for it.
That's also assuming Mark 1 goes well. If they have any issues with Mark 1, that is going to have some major implications going down the road for Mark 2 and other. If they want to fly a second Mark 1, like Mark 1.2 or whatever they want to call it, like there's a lot at stake for both contractors here, and something tells me that SpaceX is working on a lot. I mean, obviously, they. I think it's safe to assume they are working on a lot more behind the scenes than we could ever possibly conceive. We just can't see it, so we have nothing to gauge exactly what it is they're working on, how far they are, and when we might see hardware. But I would like to imagine they're fairly far along in that process, and we might see something here in the next 6 to 8 months. We might even see something on the Starship Flight 12 stream for all we freaking know. But I don't know. I just wish we saw more hardware from them on that front. But again, like I think they're, in terms of playing field, I want to. They're pretty level with one another right now. I want to say
the SpaceX HLS CDR, or Critical Design Review, is supposed to be due. I think it's like somewhere around Q2 here of this year. It's relatively soon, within the next couple of months. Once that's passed, if that actually passes, like at that point you settled on your design, I would not be surprised, along with the fact that they're doing an IPO, like all of a sudden we're going to get a massive info drop. And the other part to that is we might see footage of actual hardware. The other thing is too, is eventually one day the large door of the Star Factory might open and holy cow, what's this white nose cone rolling over to Mega Bay 2 with a payload bay? I don't know. That I will not discount that possibility at all with SpaceX these days.
Or like they do what they did last week and just randomly drop a 20-something minute video with a whole bunch of footage from angles that we have never seen before.
Yeah.
What?
It's the first of a series. That's episode
first
one
of a series.
So
and who's to say they won't drop another before Flight 12, and maybe we'll finally see what's happening inside of that big white freaking tent over at Gregor. Like, we still have no idea what happens in there. Like, so
they're building a Stargate.
Yeah, I mean,
I know what happens in there.
What happens in there, AJ? What happens in there?
Stuff.
Stuff and things.
As long as they don't
I have no idea.
As long as they don't do the big info dump during the flame trench again, like last week, that would be appreciated. Before it would be fantastic.
Yeah.
You know,
go ahead.
I was gonna say, considering the notices we saw come out today, or at least get somewhat published today. I was genuinely curious to see, like, if in the middle of Flame Trench, SpaceX would do a post, say, "Hey, look, here's our full update on Flight 12, and here's our net date we're targeting, and all this other stuff." I was be like, "Oh boy," but nothing.
Don't you
yet,
dare!
So.
Don't you dare! No.
Don't be giving them ideas now.
Seriously. Got a couple really good questions here that I want to hit. Here's one from Max, who was wondering, not our Max, MAKS, will Artemis 3 be canceled if it slips into 2028 to have the spare mobile launcher to start stacking SLS for Artemis 4? Because I know they want to at least have 2 in 2028, Artemis 4 and Artemis 5. But if Artemis 3 ends up slipping to 2028, what's that going to mean, given that they now only have Mobile Launcher 1 as they continue to demolish Mobile Launcher 2 that they spent all these years stacking?
I don't think they're going to demolish ML2.
No.
They've been taking parts of it off. Let's say that.
I have a very, very spicy take about this.
Ooh, I like spicy.
It's muy picante. All right. So I think that they're not going to demolish ML2, and I think that NASA is going to figure out that putting a Centaur up there doesn't work, and the EUS is going to get finished. How about that? Yeah. Or I can hope. No. Whoa. I can hope. I really don't think you can put
of Orion Weber guess.
I know. I really don't think that you can put a Centaur up there, dude. I think it'll crush between 36 tons of Orion and LAS, the launch abort system, and then 35 meganewtons pushing up from the bottom. I don't think you can do it, dude. So I think the right course of action, to answer Max's question, is start retooling High Bay 1 for that mobile launcher, and then push forward with the EUS and get it done. Because you got to remember, like, the EUS they didn't want to do it because we have to launch on a higher flight rate, so let's use less launch pads to launch on a higher flight rate. Question statement. Hello. So I think they're going to do these feasibility studies with Centaur, and you're going to figure out you can't put a Centaur up there. I've done some quick math out on my stream over on my end, and it just you'd have to reinforce Centaur with an adapter that's like the Centaur forward load reactor. Guys, we were talking about Atlas 5 a little bit earlier, right? You know, the Atlas 5 500 series, which we only have 2 left of, has the CFLR deck, the Centaur forward load reactor. Some of the fairing is in the load path for the payload, so the payload doesn't crush the Centaur under the force of the thrust from the bottom of the rocket. Right? You're going to have to make something like that, or reinforce Centaur, which completely defeats the point of using a flight-proven stage. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Could be wrong. Maybe they know something I don't. I just have the hat on, all right? I don't know. But yeah, I think that's what's going to happen, Max. I think they'll figure out that, yeah, scrapping ML2 is only delaying things even more than it already could be delaying things. I don't know. Chad, what do you think?
I mean, I know I've seen them when we were by the Cape there. You see them removing parts. We've seen on our Space Coast Live cameras them take down the White Room and things like that. I really want them to be able to keep up that pace. And I know Jared Isaacman, NASA administrator, was very adamant that they will be able to do the turnaround much quicker. I think he was asked that question, actually, about the mobile launchers. And he said that, you know, they plan to be able to turn things around quick enough that it won't be as much of an issue of worrying about having to refurbish it and do it between flights. I asked him that question. He answered that in the post-launch press conference. So,
I just,
I mean, I hope
Sawyer,
that's
I
the
guess
case.
I really just don't get where they're going to get more stages from, because I'm pretty dang sure physics is going to slap you if you try to put a Centaur 5 up there. There's a reason, like back in the day, I mean, keep in mind this is different rocket, different architecture, but the same idea. They started the Apollo program, they wanted to put a Centaur on top of Saturn V, and they figured out that you can't. Like, and don't get me wrong, like it's not like we couldn't do it. You'd need to redesign the adapter, but remember, the whole point is flight expediency here. Right? That's the whole point, right? We want to start building this out, and we want to start, flying on a relatively high frequency. Well, okay. You're not, I don't think you're going to do that with Centaur 5. Yeah, we need an S4B. That's what we do need. just make an S4B and bring the J2 back and put that on top of SLS. I'm not even kidding. Or I was thinking about another thing. This is more theory crafting on my part. Have Blue make a cut down version of GS2, like I don't know, half the size. That'll work. Just half the height. I don't think it'll fit in the VAB. You'd have to expand the roof, which I don't think is like a completely unfeasible thing to do.
It's
right?
not. Yeah.
But that's the reason why they didn't put GS2 up there in the first place, because NASA in like 2017 was like, no, we can't do that because your stage is not going to be done in time.
This is a live view from the Cape as
Neither
ML2
is yours.
currently. Just want to point that out.
Yeah, right. That's what they said, and then they said they'd have to extend the roof on the VAB. They said that was unfeasible because can't be bothered with
EJ,
raising a roof.
Forgive my ignorance, but wouldn't cutting GS2 in half be kind of already like a Centaur 5?
No, not at all.
How so?
Oh no, not this again. Not this again.
How so?
No, GS2 is using a completely different style.
I'm genuinely asking.
Okay, so Centaur 5 is using a stainless steel. They're using stainless steel, and they're using balloon tanks. So a Centaur works on the same principle as like a full can here, right? This one's empty, so you can, the Yingling people are going, yes, right now. Like, you can press on it. You can crush the thing if you really need to, right? I have these here for an example, right? You can crush them. So Centaur relies on pressure for structure because the balloon tanks, the idea is that you have more fuel on your rocket and less rocket on your rocket. You use the pressure for structure, okay? Now that has its benefits, but that also has its drawbacks. The benefits is that you made an upper stage that's mostly fuel and oxidizer, and you have a really low what's called mass fraction, right? Dude, this stainless steel is maybe a little bit thicker than tinfoil.
Yeah.
Like maybe a little bit. Just it's not about any of the thickness of a dime, maybe. It's really not very, very thick, and that's on purpose, right? They use the pressure. Centaurs can't stand up by themselves. It's not like Starship. Starship is using 4mm 304X stainless. It's totally different architecture. But yeah, exactly. To keep that thing up. That's why Starship can stand up when it's unfueled. If you try to do that with a Centaur, it'll crush. Even like this.
It even had issues with Starship. If you go back to like Booster 4, where they had barely any stringers in those tanks, you could see the thing dent and start to crush itself. And if they ever wanted to go inside the tanks, they had to hook a crane up to it to depress the tanks and then go into it. So there's another example is, stainless steel is great. It has its drawbacks.
Now, and with Centaur as well, if you want to go inside of it or work on it or transport it, you have to apply tension on both sides and literally pull it, so it doesn't lose,
or else it'll fall apart.
Any structural integrity. Right, exactly.
So that doesn't happen with GS2. GS2 is using stir welded, I think it's 7000 series aluminum, either that or it's aluminum lithium. I don't know what the exact one is. It's one or the other, either aircraft grade aluminum or aluminum lithium. And it's stir welded. It's stir welded ortho grids, which is more in common, more like a Vulcan core stage than anything. Point is that you can put the structure. It's way stronger. It's using way thicker aluminum, and it's using billet stringers. So they start off with a thick plate of aluminum, and then the plate's gigantic. It's like 20 feet by 10 feet, and they mill in all the structure in the form of an ortho grid, you've seen them before, Max. Like SLS does the same thing, right?
Yep. And same with the Vulcan first stage, also an ortho grid.
Correct. It's the exact same idea. And then they put it in a barrel and they stir weld it together, and then they go test it in the 2CAT, right? Like that is much stronger. That is way stronger. Like a cut down GS2 would make it so you don't need as crazy of an adapter. But then again, see, like that's the thing. And that, I guess, like, I'll concede that wanting the EUS back is kind of hopium. Like, it absolutely is. It's very much hopium. I don't know if Congress has their way. It's not. Like, I don't know. We don't know. We're gonna have to wait and see. But you're still running into, like, any off the shelf solution here is going to require a pretty significant redesign. And I can't help but think in the back of my mind, like, was the EUS going to take that freaking long? Because it's not just putting another stage up there. You can't kit bash rockets. It's not Kerbal Space Program. Take it from me. I play a lot of that game. You just put a stage on top of another stage. It doesn't matter, right? Like, there's a lot of other things to consider, loads, load path, aerodynamics. But you're basically requalifying the rocket, and you got to go back into the wind tunnel, et cetera, et cetera. Like, is there any stage that's an easy off-the-shelf solution here? And the answer is no. Like, Centaur 5 seems appealing at first, but there's no way that Centaur 5 is rated for like 300 to 400% of its load. There's not a chance. Nobody rates stages like that, meaning that it's designed to have six GEM 63 XLs, 2 BE4s pushing up on that Centaur, and then maybe a 25 to 26 ton payload pushing down on that Centaur, and that's about it. Yeah, see, there it is. Like, even look at all the jigs that they have. That's Max. You see the tooling jig that they have at the bottom? That's to stretch the thing to make sure it doesn't flop over. Right? Like, that's what I'm talking about, dudes. Like, I don't. That's not as easy of a solution as it has been perceived. I think they're going to find that out, and then you're going to have to go build a new adapter. Like, it's not just building another launch vehicle staging adapter. You're going to have to build a load deck reactor, because if you put Orion on top of it, it's going to crush that thing. Yeah, I don't know. Just a theory. Like, my theory is, like, I don't think Centaur is going to be as easy as they think, and I think they're going to have to figure out another solution. To be 100% honest with you, I really. And, like, once again, fellas, I've taken L's in the past, like, about wild and crazy theories. I'm not trying to say this to be cynical or anything. I want SLS to work. I want, New Glenn to work. I want Starship to work. I'm just greedy at the end of the day. I want more rockets, not less. But I'm, like, Max, I'll ping it to you. Like, what if you could put any other upper stage up there? What would you do? What upper stage would you put up there?
GS2. Like a GS2
right?
would have been my other choice. But, like, given all of the issues that you've just talked about, EJ. The people at NASA and the engineers that are hands-on with this hardware, they know this. Like, they I can almost guarantee you, like, they took all of this already into the equation in putting this new version of SLS together. And it's going to be interesting to find out what sort of solutions they come up with to make it work. With that being said, given all of the problems listed and the solutions that they need to make the thing work, and they still deem that a more feasible solution than continuing with the EUS. I think that speaks volumes just to the actual state of that side of the program.
Yeah, that's a good point.
In when they made that decision. So my bet would have been this, or if I had to bet on what upper stage they were going to sub in for the ICPS, it would have been a GS2 derived system. Maybe not as long as the current one, because obviously, as we already talked about, they would have had to modify the actual VAB to make that even fit inside High Bay 3. So maybe like a shortened version of that. Like, that would have been like what I would have thought made sense. But they obviously are keen on trying to make Centaur 5 work. And just by, I think I can, on paper, I think I think there is a lot of sense there to make enough of an argument for them to proceed forward with it, despite the problems at hand. So I'm just curious to see what solutions they're going to come up with to make it work. And hopefully we won't have to wait too long to see some either inspiration or teases of the actual solutions in play there. Could be a couple of years, could be 3 years, but hopefully we should find out sooner than later.
Based off of EJ's demonstration, I just think they should use Yingling for the upper stage. There you go.
Oh, I'm in, dude. Let's go.
Solution solved. There you go. Just load it up with beer. Forget Carolox or Methalox. It would be, what would you call that? Beerolox?
Hopalox.
Beerlocks.
Yeah.
Are we making a brewery or a launch vehicle here? Wait a minute.
Porque no los dos.
Hey, there's an idea for one of the inevitable leftover Atlas V boosters. Brewing tank.
First off, oof, Starliner. Second off, that's funny.
Yeah.
You know, I see Alex in the back channel saying, oh, the U.S. doesn't have a production line, and the SLS core stage doesn't have one either. Yeah, you can make that argument if you want, Alex, sure. You know, oh, they don't have a production line. Yeah, but, you know, we just saw another core stage get rolled in, and I know what you would say. And you'd be like, well, then, you know, they can't make them that fat. Well, I mean, clearly they can, because here you go. What do you mean they don't have a production line? You're honestly thinking that scaling that production and trying to make that stuff faster is somehow a more difficult solution than going back into the wind tunnel and doing more analysis on, like, rating another upper stage for SLS? Man, I'll take the production line. Like, you know good and well that all the analysis that you're going to need to get that centaur working, it's not an off-the-shelf solution. It really is not. You're going to have to, like, it isn't. Like, what you're saying, what do you mean is that there isn't anywhere where they were building like 50 of these at the same time? Yeah, but they don't need to. They don't need to. SLS is not a high. Yeah, SLS is not a high cadence vehicle. You don't need to build a production line. They already have it.
Which, by the way, along these lines, Felix came in with the $20 super chat earlier saying basically the same thing, saying, EJ, you can have an EUS upper stage if you could find a contractor that can actually deliver on time and on budget. If Boeing had done what it was supposed to do, we wouldn't be trying to Kerbal rocket stages together.
If Boeing had done what it was supposed to do, how many times have we said that in the last 10 years?
But, like, at the same time, SLS was built already with leftover hardware, mostly leftover hardware from other programs. RS-25s, the SRBs, from Shuttle. The ICPS is from Delta 4. The core stage was SLS. The core stage is heavily, the core stage's construction is heavily inspired by the design of the external tank from Shuttle. Like there's like SLS is already kind of a Kerbal rocket. Like, so I feel like that argument is kind of redundant.
It is basically.
So, like, that's what I don't really kind of appreciate about that point. But yeah, it's going to be interesting one way or another to find out how they're going to make this work. Because at this point, it not working is not an option. Like, that is not the message that this current leadership has installed on their workforce, is that this not working failure. Well, where have we heard this before? Failure is not an option.
I have
right?
it on a shirt.
Like, it needs to work. It needs to work. And I think that the very smart people that have their hands on the hardware and the CAD drawings are going to make it work. It's just going to be a matter of how.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm getting at, dude. That's another thing. Like, sorry, I just want to say this real quick. Like, I'm not saying they can't do it. You can put a centaur up there. What the argument is that that's going to take time. That's the argument. I'm not saying that can't be done. You could put an adapter up there with a load reactor and make it work. If that point was not conveyed correctly, that's my fault. But it can absolutely be done. It's just, remember, the question here is, can it be done by 2028? Right? Like, that's the question. Anyway, Sawyer, what were you saying?
Well, I was going to say, they technically do have an EUS production rate. We have seen a render of a square, and they got that out in pretty fast time. So if they keep rendering squares, maybe eventually we'll get there.
You know who should have gotten the core stage contract, EJ?
Who?
Oh,
Lockheed Martin. They made the external tanks.
Yeah, they should have, but here's the other thing. I mean, this is turning into a tank wall structure, flame trench. I mean,
the tank trench.
The tank trench, the external tank that was not using billet aluminum. They were just making barrel segments and stir welding them together. And then the external tank, for simplicity of manufacture, was using manually welded stringers. The SLS core stage is completely different. The SLS core stage is made aluminum lithium, stir welded with a billet isogrid. It's a completely different manufacturing method. That's part of the reason why it took so long. It's not an external tank, guys. It really isn't. It's a completely different tank wall architecture.
It's
a completely
literally a
whole
new
different
stage
manufacturer
from scratch.
Yeah, it really is. It is. Yeah, it's a much more modern design, and I suppose they opted into that. They opted into that because, like, oh, that'll be good for long-term longevity. I mean, the reality situation is, if we did direct, we'd be on the moon right now. But that's, whatever. Oh, I know.
Wow. That is not where I expected this whole conversation to go. But that was
Yeah,
very
me either. Me either.
It's a good one, right? Like, hey, I mean, I'm more than happy to teach people about tank wall architecture. I think that stuff's cool.
And you're not just trying to stringer us along.
Oh, Jesus.
Like
Not manually, at least.
The only little other thing, and I know EJ brought this up, was the how long of a wait between Artemis 2 and 3. That's not going to be my biggest thing. It's going to be the wait between 3 and 4. Because you have to remember, to get to work Artemis 3, yeah, they need the landers working, but they don't need the refueling. I know everyone's like, oh, they'll start flying, they'll figure refueling out. Well, no one's ever done it before. So,
dude, I don't think refueling is one of those things that's going to be like, oh, this is some big crazy thing that we haven't done. We haven't done it because there hasn't been a need to do it. I think refueling is not as big of a problem as everybody thinks it is. I really don't. It really, like,
that's a really good point, actually.
Plus,
I mean, the Russians refuels
might be another thing.
What's up?
Too. The cadence to do the refueling is a decent leap to take for New Glenn and Starship.
I'd be more worried about that, Ryan, than the actual refilling process, to be honest with you. SpaceX is going to need a lot of pads. So is Blue. Yeah. Blue ain't going to do that with one pad, and you're not going to do it with 2 pads either. No. Like, they need like 5 like to do this type of launch cadence, or at least another HIF or another transporter erector. Like, there's some serious scaling that needs to go on here on the ground,
That being said, though, New Glenn is already working on a second pad, and SpaceX is already well underway in evolving construction over at Space Launch Complex 37, which itself will have 2 separate launch facilities and 2 catch facilities to support ships and boosters. So if we fast forward 3 to 4 years, I don't think that's going to be as big of an issue, because at least on SpaceX's side, they're going to have Pad 1, they're going to have Pad 2, they're going to have Pad 39A over at KSC, and then 2 more over at Space Launch Complex 37. Like, that's not going to be an issue for them, I don't think. I think Blue, on the other hand, their second pad. I don't know how long that's going to take. Honestly, that could take 2.5 years. It could take 5 years. It took them a long time to get their first pad for New Glenn up and ready. I remember seeing it being built back in 2020. And it didn't support its first launch until the first month of 2024.
Well, they didn't have a rocket to put on it, which is a whole different other thing.
That's also true. Yes.
Yeah, you could complete a pad, but not have the vehicle to actually go on the pad until later.
Like Stoke, Pad 14, pad's basically done.
Their pad is basically ready.
Yeah, which is nuts in itself.
All right, yes, folks, Jake is back, and he's matching Max with the orange and white.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh my God.
What do you know? They match. But yeah, I mean, they're already starting to pick up the pace of launches on the East Coast. I think once they have that second pad, that'll help with New Glenn. But I don't know. We'll see what their pad turnaround time ends up becoming. And of course, all of this ends up becoming GSC-derived problems because ground support equipment somehow, as complex as rockets are, it's the tubes and pipes and hard metal that you have on the ground that ends up being the issue more than the flight vehicle itself.
Flashing back to 2020 there with a lot of issues between like August and like November.
Exactly my thought.
Oh God, the great GSE kerfuffle of 2020 was real.
USS F-44.
Oh my God.
No, it was NRL 44,
right? Yeah.
But you also had, I think, 2 or 3 different Falcon launches, which were heavily affected by bad GSE.
Yeah.
Like bad enough to the point where Elon himself flew to Florida and said, "Hey, what the F are you guys doing?"
Yeah, I mean, there was another launch where just after USS or NRL 44 had the on-pad engine shutdown, Falcon 9 had the same exact thing within the same year at the pad next door. So, yeah, that was wild. Also wild is the support we've been getting from you guys. Jane getting a print from shop.nasaspaceflight.com saying you guys at NSF are the best, what Friday nights are made for. Thank you all for the great coverage. We appreciate it. And Max, I think it was one of your prints, actually. It was one of your Falcon Heavy launch prints.
Nice. Cool.
Turtle Sanctuary said, sorry I got here late. Did you already say the thing? He said the thing.
The flame trench.
He said the thing. And then this is a very serious question that we're all going to need to give our input on here. So, yeah. Crazy JR saying, wife is pregnant with our first son. Can't decide on the name between Orion, Draco, or Vacuum Optimized Raptor 3.
The last one.
The last one.
Vorv.
Yeah.
The last one, if you
Vor
add
3.
Stubby in there somewhere.
Oh, no.
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 Yes.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Although, actually, another good name that I just heard of today could be Exo-Atmospheric Reaction Control System.
There you go.
It's like a daughter asking her mom, "Mom, why did you name me Rose? Because I love roses." Oh, thanks, Mom. Dad, why'd you name me? Like, why is my name the way that it is? Oh, because I loved whatever it was. Oh, thank you. Or no, how does that joke go?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Name
I
a
love
kid
Vacuum Optimized.
Supersonic.
Oh, yeah, because it's my
retropropulsion.
favorite. Thanks, Dad. You're welcome, Vacuum Optimized Engine 3.
Or thanks,
Right?
thanks, exo-atmospheric deceleration burn.
I mean, that would be cool. I mean, I know a lot of people who are named Artemis now. Multiple people who are named Artemis, and many of them because of the space program. Some unrelated, but some who have chosen to legally change their name to space-related vehicles, and it's amazing. So, just saying. It doesn't have to be a joke.
It was mythology before it was space-related vehicles, but that's a whole other thing. So
That is true.
Yeah.
Name them Ares 1. There you go. Ares 1X would be their name. So
It's a great name.
I was gonna say, you guys love Ares 1X so much. Why don't you name your child after it? There you go. Oh boy. Anyway,
Ship 36.
Ew. 36 or 26?
Either.
No.
Either.
Neither.
No.
Either.
How about? Oh God. How about you name them Soyuz 5? Wouldn't that be a cool name?
It's another
Isn't
single stick rocket, right, Sawyer?
Yeah.
Isn't there a new rocket, EJ, now that is Soyuz 5 that is finally flown?
Da, Dovrish. Metaurusho. Huh? Oh, sorry.
Exclamation point English.
Paruski? No? Okay. All right. Well,
Ruski.
So the Roscosmos and Kazcosmos rolled out Soyuz 5. This is another variant of the Soyuz rocket. It is a single stick design, not the first single stick design that we've seen here. There was, back in the day, there was the Soyuz 21V. 21V was a single stick Soyuz, but this is also a single stick Soyuz. So the first stage on this is using billet ortho grids, stir welded. We were just talking about that a second ago, and it has an RD-171MV, a similar style of engine to the Zenit boosters on Buran Energia for the people who like the Soviet space shuttle program. The Soyuz 5 launched from the site 45-1, which is a former Zenit pad. The Roscosmos was looking to replace the Zenit booster because, the Zenit core was made in another place that wasn't Russia. Let's leave it at that. Yeah. Another place it was made somewhere that wasn't. They wanted to bring the design in-house, we'll say. So the new version of Soyuz launched yesterday, and it did a suborbital trajectory with a block of concrete up on the top, mass simulator, and it worked great. Now, this is the Bytarek program, which is a joint venture between Kazcosmos, which is the Kazakh space program, and Roscosmos, which is the Russian space program. And now, so the Soyuz 5, like I said, it's basically a regular Soyuz upper stage from like the 21A. but it has a RD-170 pushing behind it. That is the most powerful liquid fuel rocket engine ever flown, ever. Period. Full stop. Those things make 1.8 million pounds of thrust in the vacuum, 7,900 kilonewtons, which is it's packing a punch behind it. And the first launch was yesterday. It's
the only other rocket engine that's more powerful than that is one that flew on April 1st. And
yeah,
that's
the solid rocket
the 5-segment
boosters.
solid rocket booster. I mean, of course, the 4-segment shuttle one is more powerful than it as well, but as of actively flying engines, it's the solid rocket booster. It's the most powerful liquid engine there is. It's a Soviet design from basically the late 70s, early 80s for their Energia Baran, which then the side course then became Zenit, or flip-flop, basically. It's a Zenit core. But either way, I've been waiting for this thing to fly for a while, to see the new RD-171 fly. Once this is fully operational, and if they can get a crew and a cargo variant running, then the venerable R7 family will retire, but we're still a little ways away from that. Yeah,
I'm just glad to see a variant of the RD-170 flying again, because it's an absolute marvel of engineering. It's what the RD-190 is based off of, and also the RD-180 that flies on Atlas. Because mind you, even though you see 4 engine nozzles, it is still a singular engine because it has a singular set of turbopumps and 4 separate combustion chambers. So that is why it is considered one engine. And it's just so cool to see. And also that big giant green flash at ignition of the T-tab flowing into the combustion chamber is amazing. I don't know. It's really cool to see somewhat old hardware it's finding a modern use or a modern application for a really old but really cool engine design, as is obviously is the case here with the RD-170 on Soyuz 5. God, that thing's beautiful. Look at that.
Does this almost feel a bit Falcon derived in a way, given the T-tab ignition, the single stick, call it the Russian broomstick in this case?
No.
It's more Zenit derived.
Yeah, no, I don't.
It's Zenit derived.
I get zero Falcon vibes from it at all.
In Soviet fashion, or not Soviet, but Russian fashion, because they both did basically the same thing. It's hot stage for the second stage.
Yep.
Like almost every other Russian Soviet rocket to exist, basically. It's hot. It just hot staging. So
it's like they're allergic to OLED thrusters,
or pushers or anything along those lines. But it's nice to see it finally fly, and it was nice to see it actually succeed. It sounds like it went perfectly. The suborbital trajectory went fine. First stage went perfect. Second stage went perfect. The mass sim went on the trajectory it was supposed to. So it's good news for the rocket as a whole and for Roscosmos. They did have a kind of a little bit of that hiccup when that surface structure was puked into their trench ditch there. But they rebuilt that, got that flying again. So got Soyuz flying again. But yeah, new rocket for Roscosmos alongside our Angara. So new era for that agency.
I really want to go to Baikonur, like really bad, to photograph like cool. Proton and Soyuz. Like, oh my god, like that is still on my bucket list to see an R7 derived Soyuz fly.
Walk around Site 250.
God, please.
Where they did some of the Energia Baran stuff, and old N1 stuff.
If there's a way to bring coverage of a future crewed launch from Baikonur as media, I would put my hand up in like in the blink of an eye. I would be the first to volunteer for that. I want to go so bad.
By the way, someone made a very interesting point that kind of backs me up here in chat. So the other name for the Soyuz 5 is Sumkrat, which Sumkrat, when you translate it to English, is either Golden Eagle or Falcon. So it is a Falcon 5.
No,
I always forget how to pronounce that one. It's the Battarak project, basically, is what it is. That's how
Bites are
it started.
But yes,
Literally.
the original name for it and what it's still, Soyuz 5/Sunkrat. So it is a Falcon technically, by name.
It has
Same,
no
right? Broomstick.
similarities to it at all, though. So
I think that Alex is right in the back channel. Soyuz 5 is Atlas 7.
Stop
since
it.
It uses an RD-171.
Oh my God.
It's two RD-180s together.
But no, it's Zenit 2, or because Zenit and that engine came before Atlas had it, so it's technically not that. Yeah.
Does that mean Atlas 5 is
Or Energia
Zenit 1.5?
What?
I mean,
Energia 3? That's good. I like that. I like that.
absolute
good.
cinema.
I don't even know where to go from there. Yes, Sunkar. I can't pronounce things, okay? I'm an American. We don't know other languages.
Hey, but Atlas has, it's responding to Alex in the back channel. Atlas has not been using the RD-180 since then. So no. That's where it's when it started using the engine is where I'm drawing the line there. Yeah.
So, you know what, fellas? I wanted to bring this question up. So this is great that this works. And Ryan, I'll kick it to you. What is the purpose of this vehicle?
Basically, the purpose of this vehicle is to replace Soyuz 2.1. It's to be able, I forget how much tonnage to orbit. I think it's in the 15 range.
This Soyuz 5 can do 17 to 20.
Yeah, it was around that range. It's medium lift launcher. It's basically to replace Soyuz and basically Proton as well in some cases too. Well, that's more in Gara, especially in Gara 5. But they had a whole plan to use Soyuz 5 along with the Orion capsule. And then the Orion capsule was basically going to be their new crew, Orion.
You could just say eagle. It means eagle in Russian.
To do their, I have Orion in my head because of World War II stuff, because of the city.
You nerd!
What?
History buff.
Anyways, they were going to use that for crew and cargo, but that capsule hasn't really gone anywhere lately. At least I don't remember hearing anything recent on it. So right now it's just kind of cargo missions, or at least and whatnot. Well, sat missions until they get that stuff up and running. But the whole plan for Soyuz 5 is to completely replace Soyuz 2.1 and retire the R7 family for good. That's the original plan when they came up with this rocket. Same thing.
It'd be a sad day.
Get rid of the R7s, get rid of the Atlas, getting rid of all the Atlas-derived names, EJ.
It's not an Atlas-derived name. It just is, all right?
Yeah, do you know what I mean? Atlas-derived vehicles, okay?
Hey, you're the one that likes playing with words, okay? All right? You should know this.
I do, when they're actually appropriate.
Hey, look, a cube. You see the cube on there?
Massive. Yeah.
Yes, it's the EUS. Anyway.
That was funny.
That was a good one.
Oh my God.
It was a render of a cube. What do you expect? Anyway.
That was pretty good.
We really got Soyuz 5 before GTA 6.
This rate, we would get a Soyuz 6 before GTA 6, but anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we'll see how that ends up flying and when we get the first flight of that. And I believe, EJ, there's another vehicle that we might get the first flight of potentially soon, sometime this millennium.
So Virgin Galactic actually posted yesterday as well. They are rolling out their new version of Spaceship. They said that they've hit a major production milestone where they towed their vehicle out of the assembly hangar and moved it to the launch and testing hangar. This is all their new facilities that are in Mesa, Arizona. They have a huge production milestone. This is their revised variant of their spaceship. That's what it's called, which last flew on the Galactic 7 mission in June of 2024. They entered a gigantic redesign here, which I'm not saying that that's not cool, because that's super cool. Fellas, like what we're doing is like, okay, I literally just got finished asking, like, what's Soyuz 5's purpose? Like, what's this thing's purpose?
Hey, Jay, can you cut to me real quick? I was gonna do something here.
Backseat producer.
Fine, just steal my thunder. That's fine.
Oh, they rolled out a new, little space plane for tourism. Yay. Okay. Anyways, what? Yeah.
Damn,
That's why you wanted to have him cut to you? Was just for that?
Yeah.
Lame sauce.
Damn, son.
that was kind of lame.
That's my reaction to it. Like, what? Like, okay.
No,
and that's it's in responses to EJ's question is, what's the purpose of this? It's like, okay.
This is the flame trench. It's not the
flying
pathetic
tourism
deluge system.
Right?
What is purpose of a space plane? Question.
Like, if this could go into orbit, then yeah, okay, that's really cool.
I mean, okay, hear me out. This is kind of a hot take. I would much rather fly with Virgin than I would with Blue Origin and New Shepard.
What?
I'm not even joking.
Yes. I would still take New Shepard every single day. They even had an issue with their booster, and their launch abort system worked perfectly.
I understand.
It proved itself in real flight.
I understand that. But the thing is, Spaceship is a modern day X-15. Your experience lasts much longer than it would on New Shepard. Like, I don't really give a cahoots about crossing the Kármán line with an experience like this. It's like you're riding a modern X-15. Like, how freaking cool is that? Like, that's what I want to experience. And I'm not trying to diss New Shepard, because that in itself is a marvel of achievement in bringing suborbital spaceflight to a larger audience. But dude, like, riding Spaceship is like, how does this not look incredibly fun? Dangerous, I understand that. But in my probably skewed judgment, the risk is part of the experience and part of the fun.
Dude, all I'm saying is that they haven't flown since 2024 for a very good reason. You don't stop doing operational missions when you're in the spaceflight tourism business unless you have A, other things to work on, New Shepard, or B, something is required, like a full refactoring and redesign of the ship and new production facilities. That's all I'm saying. Was it 2024
or 2025? I can't remember. I think it was
June of 2024, Galactic 7. That was the last one. I would also like to add that the Galactic 3 mission was the first launch commentary I did for NSF, by the way, in 2023.
Really?
Yep.
I wonder which chat would fly on, New Shepard or Virgin Galactic. But I mean, here's the thing: they're the only player as of right now in the market for that. With New Shepard on pause. Even though we know it's most likely a permanent pause. I mean, you got to have someone in the game, I guess, and in a way, you then kind of have monopoly. I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing, but that becomes your only way to do that and to get these experiments done where you're in microgravity for a certain amount of time. And I know when I was looking through their YouTube channel and all their, investor things that they're trying to sell to people, a lot of it is also, hey, this is a research platform. We can send people up there to do microgravity research. Also add in the fact that as of right now, the Zero G Corporation's plane is out of commission for servicing. I don't know when they're going to start flying again. It's been out for a while now.
Yeah.
So this really becomes your only option for microgravity research.
It's true. I don't know. I just think I think it's a really cool concept, and despite the fact that they don't technically cross the Kármán line, I don't really give two cahoots about. I mean, I'm going to be completely honest. I don't care about that whatsoever. Because for something like this, the experience is what matters to me, and you are in the spacecraft, or I guess technically not spacecraft, but you're in Spaceship for a lot longer period of time, both under powered flight and also just being carried up to your launch altitude for a lot longer period of time than you are for the entire experience with New Shepard. and for the kind of price tag that you are paying for this experience, I want a much longer duration of time just in the with the experience in general. And I don't know. I just think it's one of the coolest things ever. And again, in my probably skewed judgment, the danger probably adds to the excitement and the allure. But that's just me. I'm not married. I don't have kids. I can say that. So,
I mean, also the view that you get once it does the feathering and it moves the tail, you literally do like a whole almost
exactly
180 in Virgin Galactic's vehicle. So that is pretty cool to get to see more.
And you have a lot more space to move around in there than you do in New Shepard.
True. Also, there has not been a pop star that has flown on this one yet.
Oh, God.
Richard Branson isn't a pop star?
I mean, it depends how you look at it, I guess. But yeah, I do love that feathering. Dangerous, but very cool. So, I don't know. Do you think we'll ever see this new vehicle fly, the new Delta class? Because I know we saw 7 operational flights of this one. Right now, as I mentioned, it's the only microgravity research option in the game in the United States.
Yep.
I mean, there's other things that you can do microgravity research on and that go to space. I'm just saying.
It's a little bit cheaper, is it not, to spend, say, approximately $250,000 to do this versus having to spend millions to get something into space?
Yeah. Do we know what the price of a ticket is?
I'm trying to remember.
Considering they haven't flown in forever.
I want to say it was around $250,000 per ticket, I thought that was the rough ballpark for both New Shepard and Virgin Galactic. I could be off on that.
I think one was $250, the other was $350, and I think this one was more expensive. Still, $350,000 versus having to pay to send something all the way up into space.
Yeah.
What's the price tag for a transporter mission spot?
I'd have to look it up. I don't have it off the top of my head.
I mean, you have the cost of getting on the launcher, then you have the cost of also maintaining it while it's in orbit, communicating with it, having people that keep track of it. There's a lot more involved, but
guys, I don't think the tickets are that prices. They're way more expensive than that. The New Shepard's into the millions. Pretty dang sure.
I mean, at this point, I don't see this really as a space tourism business. If they want to get anything out of it, I could see it as a research platform. But I really feel like this would be not a great investment in space tourism. And it feels like right now, honestly, space tourism is kind of dead.
Yeah. Kind of true. Sad, but true.
Killed by its lack of success.
Which goes back to my original point. What's the purpose of this vehicle? I think that the markets have changed. Like, this seemed like a good idea even just a couple of years ago, but I don't know. Maybe the timeline shifted or something. It doesn't.
It doesn't feel like a lot of people, and I think I don't know, maybe it's just me. It doesn't feel like a lot of people truly care about this kind of space tourism right now. Like, really don't. If things died off with New Shepard, they paused it or canceled it or whatever they did with it. Now, granted, I think that's a lot. Some of that could be that the entire company wants to focus on Blue Moon and New Glenn because they kind of need to get that going. But also, boy, it's taken Virgin Galactic a long time to get back into this. And I'd be curious to see how much it actually attracts if, truly.
See, I'm not going to sit here and say that it's not cool. I mean, Max, you definitely have a point. The thing is superbly freaking cool. That's really neat what it does. I do dig it, but Ryan, I can't help but think it took them this long to revise for the Delta class. Something wrong?
They redesigned their entire thing. Be like, hey,
yeah, new production facility, all that. Is there that much of a demand to build out an entire new production facility for a new class of vehicle? That's what I'm kind of wondering.
I'm actually
Like,
surprised they had the money to do all that. To be entirely honest.
that's what I mean. Like, is there really a market for this? Why push for it? I mean, maybe they know something we don't, and I would love like this is another one of those scenarios where I'd love to be proven wrong. That would be great. Please, make me eat humble pie. Like, I want this. All right, I want some of that humble pie. It's gonna be delicious, but I don't know. I just don't see it. Like,
Yeah. I mean, it would be nice to see. Also, people saying that New Shepard was approximately $1 million and that Virgin's was $750,000.
Wow. Okay.
yeah, $750,000. Like,
Yeah, that's kind of a lot.
Yeah, but again, you're from wheels up to wheels down. You're in the air for a lot longer than you are for New Shepard. It's
True. What's not a lot is the amazing merch at shop.nasaspaceflight.com. Oh no, wait, we're not doing a merch plug. Sorry.
Jesus.
Hey, just saying, it is cheaper than a flight on New Shepard or Virgin Galactic to get something from the shop.
That is a
SMH,
factual
my spaceship.
statement.
Including some of our awesome Starship merch too, because we might be sooner than we thought here. I know everyone's been waiting for Starship, so we might as well get to it. We are finally getting that much closer now to Starship Flight 12, thanks to some interesting things that we've seen filed and a new trajectory, it looks like, for the launch portion itself. Ryan, you are our Starship person here. I'm going to hand it over to you.
Ryan, I have to say before you dive in, Ryan, I just have to say you were like chomping at the bit to get going at this. I have to point that out. Like, you were like shaking your head, like in your seat, like, come on, give this to me. But go.
So basically, we saw some notices get posted today for Starship Flight 12, no earlier than May 12th to May 18th are the windows. And the windows during those days start around 5:30 p.m. Central, and they look like I think they're about 2-hour windows or so with a little bit added on at the end. And yeah, it seems kind of surprising move especially after the doc that came out and they had some static fire aborts and other things, but we can go into that a little bit more in depth here later. But so one of the other biggest changes is we saw the debris areas as well as the trajectory is changed. For the first 11 flights, the trajectory was to go between Florida and Cuba and go to the north of Hispaniola and Puerto Rico. Hispaniola being Haiti and the Dominican Republic. That's the entire island. And then it would go north of the leewards and then down through the Atlantic Ocean, kind of almost around the Cape of Good Hope and up into the Indian Ocean, basically. Well, this time it's going to go a little bit more south. They're going to thread the needle between Cuba and the Yucatan Peninsula, between Cuba and Jamaica, then go south of Hispaniola and Puerto Rico, and then kind of go right between St. Vincent and Grenada. So like go right between the leewards. That's going to go through the South Atlantic. And then because of the little bit change in trajectory, those are the debris areas. Now you can see how much bigger like the Flight 10 and 11 ones were, and you can see how much smaller the Flight 12 ones were. That kind of gives you a gauge of SpaceX's confidence in Ship 39. If we go way back to like the earlier like Flight 7, the debris areas were much smaller. They kind of learned they had to make them bigger after a couple of ships shotgunned themselves out of existence. So they seem to have a relatively high confidence that they're not going to blow a ship up on ascent. Then when it gets to reentry, in fact, because it goes a little bit more south now, it actually pops up a little bit more north on the reentry. And there's actually a really, really cool point on the reentry. So it's the purple outline right there. So you see it comes up and then it does a little hook. That little hook is very likely where they're going to do a simulated bank turn and simulated ship catch down in the Indian Ocean, which, as we all saw the bank on Flight 11, that was pretty cool to witness. So kind of looks like they're gonna try for that again, assuming Ship 39 gets there. Just assuming it gets there, which I can't wait to see. But at least it's an afternoon launch. So slight change in trajectory. They're still doing suborbital. And another thing to point out in the ascent trajectory, especially the debris area, you can see a much bigger area over the Gulf of Gulf of Mexico, where the booster might land or the booster would likely be. I think SpaceX is being extra careful in case this booster explodes on boost back burn or has some kind of energetic failure on the way down. There's like that little bulge you see to the green right there. It's a little bit bigger. I think they're being extra cautious with a brand new booster design and everything like that. So you can see where SpaceX thinks they've got more confidence in, and where they're trying to be a little bit more careful, and where they might be testing new things in this trajectory. So that's kind of the news we got today. I don't know. I was kind of shocked to see this come out. I don't think they're anywhere close to launching. They are certainly not in any way, shape, or form 11 days away from launching. I'm sorry, they are not. But I guess
Mr. Cynical's back. Hey,
Yeah,
this is Ryan.
Hey, everyone. I'm
Letty.
back.
There he
But
is.
before we go further, I just kind of want to ask the three of you guys, how shocked were you when this came out, and what you guys think of the new trajectory and everything?
I mean,
I think the new trajectory's tight. The heading alignment and simulated landing, showing the cross range for Starship's going to be sick, dude. In terms of it being ready, I think. I mean, I would want the vehicles at the pad, but I mean, other than that, like maybe another static fire out of the booster, maybe. But I suppose you could do that if it's at the pad. Maybe we'll see. Like I think it'll go this month. Just really, the question is when.
I would second that opinion. I think that it's going to be launching in May. Just don't know when exactly in May, despite the actual windows posted here. The ship, as far as we understand it, is mostly ready. The booster, for once, is the big question mark in the launch equation here. Well, that on top of the actual pad itself, and more keenly, the flame diverter and water deluge system. That was the reason for the hard abort after about 3 or 4 seconds during
both aborts.
During both aborts, correct. But most recently with the 33 engine static fire, which was cut short due to a sensor being broken off of the diverter and there not being subsequent readings to measure deluge pressure to make sure that it is sufficient, and that therefore SpaceX was kicked out, as they use it in their terminology from operations there. So that leaves us with 2 different paths forward here. Either they're going to roll Booster 19 back out to conduct another 33 engine static fire, or they're just going to roll out the booster and send it. I don't think the latter is going to happen. First and foremost, I think that of all things on the pad, to make sure that that are working correctly, considering how much time you spent redesigning it and building it in the first place to be rapidly reusable, I would. My gut tells me that you would want to static fire at least one more time, especially considering how many engines you had to replace after the 33 engine test. I don't know. There's just way too many unknowns for them to not try and test again at a longer duration. Maybe in the realm of like 7 to 12 seconds, somewhere in there, maybe longer. But yeah, I think another static fire is more than likely in the works for Booster 19. But we'll have to wait and see what SpaceX ends up doing. Either way, depending, barring any major issues found either on the vehicle or on the pad, I still think a launch in May in general is still quite possible. Just a matter of when.
I mean, yeah, I think it's safe to say that we will see May, but also I think it's safe to say that a lot of it is going to depend on what ends up happening with the booster. Are they going to static fire it again? And if they do, are they going to have to do like they did with this one and take engines apart and check them or potentially replace them? So I think that'll be the deciding factor is if they decide to static fire again, which I hope they do, and what the results end up being of that. But there was an interesting question, and other Max, M-A-K-S, not R Max, was asking, what's the point in changing trajectory?
Ryan?
So going more to the south, so one of the things that happened a lot, especially when they blew up 2 ships in a row, several airlines were a bit pissed off with SpaceX and the FAA in general because of the flight diversions and other issues that they had. If you go more to the south, all the flights leaving out of Puerto Rico or Hispaniola and going north up to the US are fine now. You don't have to worry about those. You only have to worry about flights coming up from South America or out of the Yucatan and Central America up towards the US. And you can just, for a little bit, you can route those over land and route it's kind of a better routing for airlines, honestly. And not only that, if you were to have a ship explode somewhere near in the same area as like ship 33 or ship 34 did, most of the debris would end up in the Caribbean Sea, rather than, and maybe a little bit of southern Haiti, but it wouldn't like litter the Turks and Caicos or anything like that. More of it would probably end up in the water than anything else. That's my guess for the change in trajectory, more than anything else. And there really isn't much else to do it. It kind of lines up a little bit with, I think that was what, the 32-degree launch trajectory. I think Alex was saying for possible Starlink launches out of that. So basically, if you took that trajectory and then you ended up just getting your last little bit of delta V out and getting into orbit, and circularizing it and everything like that, then you can start deploying Starlink. So this is probably the trajectory they're going to use for the next several flights, or at least for a while, out of Starbase. So they verify the trajectory, make sure everything's good to go, make sure things work, especially with the hazard zones. There's no issues there. And then they're able to do orbital missions and Starlink missions, because as we know, they want to get to that as soon as they can. If this flight is perfect, they'll try to, based off the SEC filing and kind of what SpaceX seems to plan, my guess is they'll go to orbit on Flight 13. They'll very likely deploy actual V3 Starlinks on that mission. I don't know if they'll do a full set. Maybe they'll do only like a half set, because I think they need 2 loaders to do a full set. And right now they have only 1 loader. In fact, they're building a second loader over in Sanchez right now. Funny thing enough. So if they take those 2 loaders together, they should be able to fill an entire V3 ship full of Starlinks for a full load. But if they do that, then of course, we don't really know where they would land on Flight 13. My guess is they would deorbit over like the Pacific and one of the Pacific zones that they have. And then Flight 14, if both those are fine, you get the sign off, you come back over southern US, just south of Los Angeles, and try for a catch, assuming things go well. Now that's assuming things go well is the thing, and it's kind of ties into the Artemis 3 as well, and everything else. Is SpaceX needs this flight to go well more than anything. Honestly, I think a lot of the future of the company rides on this flight.
Yeah.
If this fails in any spectacular way, they're not in a great place. Now, granted, Booster 20 was just recently finished stacking. It finished stacking only like 2 days ago. They got to finish kitting it out. Chip 40, as of right now, is supposed to go to Massey's, I think, in like 8 hours. I think the closure starts at 2 a.m. at this point. So in about 8 hours, Ship 40 might be leaving for Massey's. Still waiting for that stand to go into Mega Bay 2, as far as I know. But, so Flight 13's going, but they just started Chip 41 and they haven't started Booster 21 yet. So there's that whole thing there. So they need this flight to go well. They have definitely taken their time with testing it. And as for making that, making this window, to lay out everything they have to do. So basically, they have to finish up the booster and finish up the ship. They have to put the payload on the ship, which they could be doing sims, they could be doing real sats. We don't really know what they're going to put on this ship right now, not until they actually do it. And then they need to roll the booster out. I think they absolutely need to do another static fire. They absolutely cannot afford to just roll these two vehicles out, stack them, and hope the deluge system works. They can't do that. They cannot afford to do that. Why go through all the rigmarole of closing everything down just to have another deluge abort at T0 or close to, or like T minus 10 seconds or something? I think they need to do another 33 engine static fire, try to get a full duration this time around, make sure the deluge works, make sure the booster works. And I think at that point, you then roll booster back, inspect the engines, FTS install, roll the booster back out, then roll the ship out, stack them, and do a wet dress rehearsal, because that still needs to get done with how new the pad is. There's also a new test tank they literally just installed over at Massey's. It's a booster landing tank. They're going to do a little can crushing on that. So that plus 18.3 that's still getting tested, plus S39.1 that's still getting tested. I don't know if they're postponing some testing till after Flight 12 or if they want to try to get some of this other stuff done. But there's definitely a lot of check marks to still happen. And then not only that, regulatory speaking, I don't think they have a launch license for this flight at all. I'm pretty sure that last one doesn't really cover how new this vehicle is. It's not really the same vehicle that other launch license covered. So they might need to get a new one there. So there's a lot to still do. I think they make it in May, but it's more towards the end of May, if anything.
So I think to kind of reemphasize what you were saying, or part of what you were saying earlier, Ryan, is maybe most people don't realize just how much is actually riding on how well this flight goes. Not just in the near term, but the long term, at least in terms of the next maybe 3 to 5 years. If Flight 12 does not go well, either on the booster side or the ship side, either side of the equation, that puts timelines in jeopardy for not only just NASA's HLS missions and commitments, but also Starship operations here in Florida. Obviously, the severity of which depends on what happened. Whether it be just the ship had some issues in orbit and couldn't maintain its attitude and was tumbling, or the booster had multiple engines out on the way up and the whole vehicle tumbled and blew up. I don't know. Or God forbid a fallback. Like that utter worst case scenario is pad fallback. I don't even want to even mention it again, just because I don't want to bring that into the universe. But there's a lot riding on how Flight 12 goes, and I do not blame SpaceX one bit for taking their sweet time and getting the hardware ready to go by their standards. It needs to work, and if it does work, we could very well be in for a launch schedule that is adventurous, but also Starship operations finally migrating or evolving from just Starbase and getting here to Florida, which is where Starship will eventually become a launch. Florida will eventually become Starship's main launching point because you have a lot more freedom in terms of where you can fly. And they will also have more launch complexes here than compared to Starbase in the long term as well. And the quicker that they can prove version 3 works, the quicker they can get on with that timeline and get moving. But yeah, it needs to work, I think. Although, like that being said, though, for the last few flights of Starship, the biggest question mark has been ship. I think by the time Flight 11 happened, we were all very confident in the performance of Super Heavy, especially when they wanted to do some more adventurous things with it when it came back into the atmosphere. The big question mark was ship. I feel the polar opposite this time, whereas I think ship is going to do great, assuming booster can actually get it there. Because Super Heavy it's a brand new clean sheet design, 33 brand new engines, all of which are also brand new of their design in Raptor 3, and a brand new launch pad to support it. Yeah, I think the big question mark at this point is booster, because if booster does not do well, the ship cannot get to where it needs to go, and the flight doesn't accomplish what they want it to accomplish.
Another thing that's probably significant to think of is that there is still the discussion about SpaceX going public with their IPO.
Yep.
Once they are a publicly traded company, no matter how much we try and say, oh, it blew up, it's a test flight, they learned so much from it, which we all know following this program, that sure, some of them haven't been the most beneficial for the program, but a lot of them is they plan to do that. They test a failure and they learn from it. You do that now, and investors are going to go, oh my gosh, it blew up, whatever the case is, and there goes your stock, and then things change in terms of the mentality of how SpaceX operates. So just something to keep in mind as we're going forward. I don't know if that changes things, if they want to get this launch off before the next IPO or the first IPO, or how that plays into it. I don't know what you guys think.
Or maybe they're waiting for Flight 12 to IPO. Wild concept.
If I were SpaceX, I'd want to get this thing. I would want to fly this thing before you do the IPO.
Yeah,
because it's the first one. Like, I think one of the best case scenario failures would be ascent works, ship's on its way, ship works, you lose the booster on boost back or glide back or on landing burn. Now that would stink, but it's not the end of the world. You then basically try to get booster 20 all the way down, and then you catch 21 at that point. The worst case is if you have an issue with ship on the ascent, or you have a booster issue on ascent, or you can't complete the mission. If you lose ship on reentry, that's kind of a bad thing, because this is likely going to have a completed heat shield.
Yeah.
The heat shield test for this one are, as you can see, the tile patches on the leeward side of the ship. It looks like a completed heat shield for this one. So unless it's uncontrollable, this ship should have no issues getting through reentry if it makes it there. As well as I still kind of expect them to do their payload deploy probably in space burn, because it's the first time they'll do it with Raptor 3.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't do the single engine burn on the ground, but I mean, whatever, just do it in space. It's not really like it's that much different and whatnot. It's might as well just, if you're going to test it, might as well just test it in space and flight, right? Like, what's the point? I think the biggest question mark, of course, overall, really is that booster is a good ascent, stage separation. If it gets to that point, I think we're in good realm with it. If they lose the booster after that fact, it's going to stink.
Yeah.
But it's not the end of the world for the program. It just pushes a booster catch of Block 3 ahead, but it does kind of stink because they lost 18.
Yeah.
That definitely did not help their aspects of wanting to launch a lot this year. Because you have to look at it. I mean, they just finished stacking their second Block 3 booster, which, if you follow some timelines, that should be ready to fly in like August. And based off the current timelines, if they started booster 21 like this week or next week, or sometime in early May, you're looking at a flight of booster 21 in October. That's only 3 flights. Assuming you catch 21. Now, what booster goes to the Cape? You need a booster and a ship to go to the Cape too.
Yep.
They need to up their production of boosters. They're getting it's a little slow.
I mean, for all we know, they very well could between now and then. They're still in the very early stages of version 3 production, both in terms of ship and booster sides of the equation there. But I think you want to learn how to build them right before you want to learn how to build them fast. Because obviously, again, as we have said more times than we can count now, version 3 has to work. Like, they don't have the option of just flying for data. Like, no, it has to work. And And if all goes well on Flight 12, Flight 13 could be the first one that's orbital. And that's where that's where the risk really is elevated in terms of the vehicle performing as it should. Whereas now, depending on what happens, hopefully booster ascent goes well, and after that, I think both vehicles are going to be in good hands, safe away from anyone, and people on the ground anywhere are not going to be in danger because they know where vehicles and debris would come down. But once ship is in orbit, that's a whole other question. The ship brought itself into orbit, and then it has to be able to bring itself back out again. But again,
Scary,
this will,
especially something of that size going into orbit.
and a key example of why is the recent GS2 failure of New Glenn. That's a big piece of hardware that is just flying around out there with no control. And that is exactly why up until this point, SpaceX has opted to fly purposefully on suborbital trajectories. They had more than enough propellant on board to head to orbit, but they were purposely not doing that for the event that they lost contact with ship or lost control of the ship, and they wanted to know exactly where it was going to come down, so nobody on the ground was going to be in danger. So yeah, I feel like we're just a broken record at this point talking about Flight 12 risk and how we hope it'll go, but I don't think we can emphasize enough of how big of a challenge it has been to this point for SpaceX to get here, but just also, on the other hand, how well it needs to go for this program to continue at the rate that not only SpaceX wants it to, but also NASA wants it to, because there's a lot more riding on the program than there was even 2 years ago.
Which happens first, Flight 12 or the end of one of your answers?
Neither.
Wow.
I mean,
Sorry,
yeah.
I had to.
It is kind of a broken record with what we keep saying about Starship. But we've had to talk about Flight 12 for a while now, and
Yeah.
here's a fun fact. If it were by some magical miracle, to go on May 12th, that would be 211 days since Flight 11.
Oh,
That would be 1 day shy of the record between full stack flights, which was Flight 1 to 2. That was 212 days.
I don't like
so
that.
very, very likely, though, it will break that record, which would be past May 13th, to where it'll be the longest drought between full stack flights. But let's be honest, that drought was because they had to redo the entire foundation of the pad, install a plate, introduce hot staging, test the hot staging, which they did pretty late in that design. My dad, they did that last minute. Test all that stuff with the new pad systems and then launch. This is literally brand new pad, brand new booster, brand new ship, all clean sheet from scratch. It's impressive it's only been a little over 200 days. It's impressive, to be honest. It's been a couple of years in the making.
Yeah.
It really is. I mean, it's tough seeing a vehicle that has so much riding on it at this point. But then again, the same was with Artemis too. There was so much riding on that launch and everything being successful, and it was.
Yeah.
So hopefully it's the exact same thing with Flight 12. And again, like you were saying, I mean, the booster, the ship itself has all the tiles on it. It's not those testing of, oh, we're going to try some metallic here, we're going to remove some there. No, this is what they want to be their, I don't want to say final vehicle, but
operational
current iteration that they run with for a while. Let's go with that.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Starship version 3 is going to be the first variant of Starship that is going to carry meaningful payload to orbit, and is also what is going to be the basis of I cannot say the word architecture of what the HLS ship is going to be. That's all based on version 3. So it needs to perform, as version 3 is not going to be sticking around for like 3, 4, 5 flights like version 2 did. Version 3 isn't it for the long haul. Like it's gonna be here for a while.
Yeah, because
I think we can all just try and block 2 out of our minds that it never happened. It was all in your imagination, minus the booster catch.
The biggest thing to we won't see Block 4 until the gigabays come online. because you need a bay of that height in order to build the Block 4 booster, the extended version of booster. They could, in theory, build the extended version of ship right now. The problem is the booster technically wouldn't have enough delta V or be powerful enough to really loft it up with any sort of good payload capacity. That's kind of where you need the extended booster from, and especially better engines. So there's no point in making the extended ship at this point if you can't really utilize it. So why do it? So that's just kind of put on the back burner. And of course, they want to test the Block 3 design, and then they'll stretch it, basically. And anything they learn from flying this design, hopefully like 30, 40, 50 times before they try to introduce the new one or more, they can put in everything they've learned and design it and make Block 4, basically. That's kind of what they're hoping is, because the transition from Block 2 to 3 was a brand new pad entirely. The transition from Block 3 to floor means they have to take the ship QD arm and move it up, basically a rung. There's an extra set of hinge points. They would have to move it up on the tower, and that would mean taking that pad offline for probably at least a few months or so, in order to disconnect all the lines, move it up, and then reconnect everything in and test it. And then of course, once you do that, you can't fly Block 3 out of that pad anymore. It has to be Block 4. So that'll whenever that happens, that's the change they'll have to make. But Block 3, this design with additions and modifications as they fly it here over the course of this year and next year, is going to be designed for Starship for the foreseeable future, at least the size of it and whatnot. And it needs to work, and I hope it does. I think it will. They've learned a lot. 11 full stack test flights plus all the suborbital flights. They've definitely learned a lot of lessons, a lot of ways of how not to do things, and a lot of ways of how to do things. I mean, biggest example, just look how beautiful that ship QD looks.
Yeah.
Compared to the old one.
Yeah.
They learned how to build a launch pad.
I mean, Pad 2 in itself looks like a complete launch pad and not one that was kind of built with the hopes that it'll work. Like, Pad 2 was designed to work from the get-go. And it looks so much better. What?
Like, Pad 1 is the bare minimum. We're going to get a couple of test flights out of this. We're going to learn a bunch of stuff, learn how to build a pad, learn how to launch this vehicle, and then we'll go from there. That's kind of basically what Pad 1 was, a test stand, booster test stand turn launch pad, basically.
By the way, am I a terrible person that I was just looking down at my shirt? I don't know if you can have me do a Ryan Weber and put me full screen, Jay. Sorry. So yeah, I have my Chip 35 achievement unlocked, didn't blow up. Is it bad that I just realized that I should probably take a Sharpie, make this a 6, and then have it cover up the NT, and then have it say did blow up?
That's just
terrible
mean.
person. Shop.
That's just mean.
It's a little late for that, but I mean, I say that because I see people already saying, is it too soon to speculate when we get booster catch and when we get ship catch?
No, I don't think it's too soon. I mean, I think the most reasonable timelines for that are going to be, assuming Flight 12 goes well, and they're not going to be attempting to catch the booster on this one, is what I would like to. I would not. It isn't what I would like to believe. It's what my gut tells me, just in terms of safety in the event something goes wrong. They want to learn how a version 3 booster behaves on its own before they opt to bring it back. So assuming Flight 12 goes well, booster side, at least on the booster side, they may attempt to catch the booster on Flight 13, and then on Flight 14, assuming all goes well on ship with Flight 14, if that is the first to go orbital 13, maybe the 14 will be the first to try and catch a ship from orbit. So I think those are the timelines that we have to roughly go off of right now. But again, literally everything in the Starship program beyond May or June of this year will all wait to pivot on how Flight 12 goes. Like, we cannot emphasize enough, again, how important this mission is. So not only is it us like just trying to get our fix of Starship again because it's been a while, But also, it's a really, really important mission. So, fingers crossed, all goes well, and then it happens soon. So, I'm a little cautious about mid-May happening, just because of everything Ryan has already talked about, and I'm not gonna rehash any of that. But I still am a believer that May is still very much on the table for Flight 12 getting off the ground.
So I guess the other question then to continue with is here, what do we still have to come before Flight 12? Because I saw El Huto was asking, could the FAA license be an issue for Flight 12? I'm surprised it hasn't been released yet. I mean, if we go back to the old days, they weren't releasing them until like 3 days before flight, sometimes 2 days, and then the course of SN8, well, that's a whole nother story.
Yeah, well,
What do you think?
I think that it should not cover. I doubt it covers what they have now. Oh, there you go. I'm the pessimist. There you go.
I like the new title.
I doubt it covers this new vehicle because there's a new vehicle, new pad. The launch location is the same because it's still Boca Chica, Texas, Starbase, Texas. But as for the vehicle, it says Starship Super Heavy. Well, granted, this is still Starship Super Heavy. It's not the same thing that launched on Flight 11, not even remotely close. It is 9 meters wide and it is stainless steel, but that's kind of where a lot of the similarities end. It is a Raptor engine, but it's not Raptor 2, it's Raptor 3 now. So I think they'll need a license update. I don't know when that comes out, but my guess is that comes out closer to when like this, then maybe the next static fire for booster is done, or when the wet dress rehearsal is done and the data is good, and if the FAA is confident in stuff and gives that sign off. I think that's probably when it'll come out, much closer to launch on this one. And then that'll likely be a more encompassing launch license. So it'll probably cover flight 12. Now, if Flight 12 goes perfect, they want to go to orbit on Flight 13, they will have to get a modification to the license again if they don't already get it, which would allow them to deorbit from orbit. Because technically they can go to orbit, but they can't deorbit. It's kind of a weird way the license is worded. But basically they would need a permission in order to do that. And then they would get that. And then at that point, basically that license covers almost any launch from Boca from then on. Then I think the only other thing would be landing the second stage at the back at the launch site is about the only other sign off they'd have to get. After that, they need a launch license for 39A at some point because they don't have that either. But that's a whole other can of worms.
Hey Ryan, I have a question for you. This is a genuine question that I want to know. So based on how Pad 2 is oriented in Starbase relative to Pad 1, the rocket is essentially away from the Gulf and in a much different position. And given the relocation of the BQDs to the opposite side of the launch mount that we're used to compared to Pad 1, that leads us to believe that the initial pitch over is going to be, or the rocket is going to be tilting kind of away from the ocean to avoid the BQDs and then like tilting back over. How exactly is the ascent corridor, or how exactly are the first moments of ascent going to look, and where is it going to go? Is it going to overfly Pad 1?
Should be the same thing as Pad 1, lift off, pitch over. That's about all it should do.
But is it going to pitch? So I can't. I know.
It's literally just going to go up and straight over. Like it's not really. There's nothing to avoid because by the time it's pitched over enough that it goes over the tower, the Pad 1 tower or tank farm or whatever, as it go kind of over the tower or kind of thread between the tower and the tank farm, it's going to be way too high for it to matter. If it has an explosion right there, well, you got other problems at that point.
But is it going to be pitching south? Is it going to be going more straight up? Is it going to be like how?
Max, think about it like this. Starship basically stalls about 5,000 feet above the tower and then just drops right down to it, flips, and then lands. That's basically it.
So,
no, I'm talking about launch, EJ, not landing.
You're talking about launch?
Launch.
Well,
Yes.
I'll actually get to landing.
It's going to go up. Like, what else? What else do you want to know? Where are you getting confused?
Like,
Because-
it's going to go up, and then it's going to go the trajectory it's going to need to, which is going to be pitching over to 32 degrees or so, which is the new trajectory or whatever you want to call it at that point. I think it's.
Are you guys talking about flight azimuth? I'm confused.
But in doing that, the exhaust would then be blowing right back onto the BQDs, which were already relocated to avoid the same result and happening.
No, not really, because the thing's going to be pitched over, so the exhaust is going to be coming straight back. You know where they have most of the water, the top deck plate splitting the tower?
Yeah.
That's where most of the exhaust is going to hit, and then it's going to come up and over, and it's not going to hit the QDs. Even if it hits the QDs, those are sealed now. Those are far more sealed and protected at this point, and there's deluge that goes up in between them even.
I'm just having a tough time visualizing it because it's oriented so differently from Pad 1. And I'm also mentally preparing myself
as what Alex said here. In order to roast the QD, the booster QDs, it would have to lift off and then head into the tower.
Yeah.
To roast the QDs.
Yeah, which we hope it never does.
It better not do that. That'll be a real bad day for everybody if it does that.
Yes.
Ryan in the back channel, bet. I hope that never happens.
No, don't do that. Don't do that, please.
Oh, man.
Yeah, no, all I can think was like, but from The Office when Michael goes around, boom, roasted.
Boom, roasted.
In this case, it would actually be boom, and it would be roasted. Anyway, I don't know what my brain is doing today. It's
like it's gonna come down right over the top of the tower, and then it's gonna flip and burn like only a couple hundred feet above or several hundred feet above Pad 2's tower. It'll flip, burn, the exhaust will roast the new cladding on top of the tower, and then it'll back in and get caught. There's a reason why they put that cladding up there. It's because they expect the ship exhaust to hit it. So they don't want to, which that might look really, really cool when it happens. Just seeing the ship exhaust go against the top of that tower.
I don't know about you. I hope SpaceX put a camera up there so they can see that flip and burn. Similar to
they're going to.
They're going set up. Like if you go look at the top of that tower right now, they're getting set up to put banks of cameras up there. They just haven't installed them all yet.
Mm-hmm.
Probably an IMAX camera again, right? I know they had one on Pad 1 for a while.
Yeah.
I do like how the poll for a mid-May Starship Flight 12 launch was either yes or no. I'm Ryan Weber.
Amazing.
Well, that means that a lot of those people lied on that poll because Ryan Weber's right there.
I'm right here.
Unless there's other people named Ryan Weber here.
Ryan Weber is here, there, and everywhere.
But the probability of there being that many Ryan Webers out there watching the stream concurrently at the same time is very low. I think you guys are lying.
But not non-zero.
What is happening right now?
Math.
Live math.
We don't do math on stream. We saw how that went earlier.
You guys don't. I do it all the time. I was saying it for your protection.
Earlier we had Bideford with a $25 super chat saying,
changes the subject.
You know it. Starship 39, Booster 19, Starbase, SPMT moving to Massey's tonight. Want SpaceX and NSF merch. Wait, what's this about SPMT moving to Massey's tonight? What's going on with this weekend?
Ship 40. At like 2 a.m. tonight, Ship 40 is assuming they don't delay it again because it was supposed to roll out at 10 a.m. this morning and then it got pushed to midnight and then it got pushed to 2 a.m. So we'll see if they push it again. But Ship 40 is supposed to go out to Massey's for cryo testing tonight. If not tonight, at some point, which is nice because that is Flight 13 ship. So, moving forward, it's nice to have another ship getting cryo tested. I'm curious to see if there's any changes on the leeward side of the ship when it rolls out, or if they did anything else to it. So we'll see. See how complete it is.
I like all the people going like, I'm Spartacus. I'm Spartacus. No, I'm Ryan Weber. I'm Spartacus Weber.
His name is Ryan Weber. His name is Ryan Weber. His name is Robert Paul. Wait, what? Sorry.
Oh my gosh. Anyway, So let's see. Blip was asking earlier. So the first ship catch flight will almost certainly be sacrificing the booster, no? Or will they attempt to catch it, safe it, place it to the transport stand, move it, etc.? I think they would want to explore it, right? I don't know if they would fly it again, but
They could. Now, unless it's a already flown booster, they could just dunk it. But wouldn't be that complicated to catch the booster, safe it, get it on a transport stand, get it out of there, assuming their safing procedures are quick enough. They should be able to just lower it down in the mount, safe it, and then get it out. We know these ships can last 48 hours in orbit, so have it do a couple orbits or go for 12 hours, then come back, and for anyone saying that they could use Pad 1, no, it's nowhere close to even remotely ready to accept any kind of catches. It doesn't have a cable. It doesn't have any draw works. The chopsticks are stripped bare. It would need probably 6 to 8 months of work minimum to even remotely get that thing close to start catching or lifting vehicles again.
Ryan, let me ask you something. Let me ask you something. All right, I'm gonna lay this one down. You don't like it, you send it right back. Okay. All right. They launch it. Booster lands in Boca Chica. Ship does its orbits. Lands at 39.
It could, but would you do that for the first one though?
No. Sure. No, absolutely not.
I was about to say, you think
Sure, no.
No, for if they want to ferry a ship to 39A, that's a perfect way to do it. Launch it out of Boca, do a Starlink mission, bring it back at 39A. Hey, you got another ship at the Cape. You can absolutely do that. It's like ferrying an aircraft with a live flight or just doing a ferry. You could absolutely do that, but like for the first one, no. No, they wouldn't do that for the first one. I don't know if that NASA would be okay with doing that on the first try.
No. And we've already seen how quickly they can pick up and move a booster off the pad should they need to. I don't think the issue of safing the booster and getting it in a movable configuration is going to be a problem. Like they can do that probably surely within 24 hours, if not like closer to 12 to 18. And as we also heard from the documentary, the initial version 3 ships are designed to last 48 hours in orbit. And that is without any solar panels, and that is without any other major resource of a power generation. Obviously, in down the line, once ships have extendable solar panels, they'll obviously have a much longer lifespan in orbit and beyond. But these initial version 3 ships with their 48-hour lifespan in orbit should, in theory, give the ground teams enough time to save a booster and pick it up off the launch mount and get it out of the way. So I think that's probably, I think Pad 2 for both booster and ship.
Yeah, and if people think that 48 hours isn't enough time for like fueling missions, I mean, like seriously, you launch it, rendezvous, dock, transfer, re-enter. 48 hours is more than enough. Like,
oh yeah,
and for like tanker ships and stuff like that, I mean, course depots and HLS and other things, and long term, they're going to need solar panels or more or higher capacity systems. But for initial, 48 hours isn't bad. For a vehicle of that size, with all the valves that it has, with all the systems that it has, 48 hours is pretty respectable for where this program is right now. And they'll be able to get more out of it. Stick an RTG on board.
Easily.
A couple, right?
Yeah, just do that.
RTG, just get fuel cells. Go shuttle.
Yeah, right,
everything
EJ?
shuttle drive problems. Problem. There you go.
I like Ryan's solution, but I also like Sawyer's solution as well. Let's just do both of those things. That's fine.
Fusion reactor.
Yes.
Warp reactor. There you go. We're gonna keep going here.
Mm-hmm. Oh my god.
We're gonna do it like Cochrane ship, where the Starship will go into orbit, but fairings will deploy on the side, and then nacelles will come out of the tanks. It'll be a warp reactor on the inside of the tanks. Yeah.
Yep,
There you go.
that's a good idea. We should do that.
Yeah, I'm good. Let's do that.
We'll call it
Wait, the real-
We'll
All
call
right.
it
Here's the
SR2
question then.
freedom. Huh?
Which Atlas version does this then? So where can we make this Atlas derived?
Oh
'Cause it
my
all goes back
God.
to Atlas, doesn't it?
Well, it'd be Titan,
That'd be-
'Cause-
Why would that be Titan?
Was
bro.
it Atlas T then in this case?
Ryan, tell them why it's Titan, please.
Don't you dare
it's Titan-
disrespect
Did
Titan
you-
like
did
that.
people not watch Star Trek First Contact?
No,
Like, come on. Like,
no, no.
I'm
I've,
outta here.
I've never watched
Guys
Star Trek
they
of any
call
kind.
themselves nerds. What
they
is
call
this?
themselves nerds. Get out of here.
This is ridiculous.
Titan 2 was
Titan
a
2.
different Cochrane ship.
Yeah, it was the first warp drive,
That
man.
was the right problem.
No, it's a Titan-derived problem. Dang it!
I have the question mark on it. At least the question mark. Atlas drive problem? Question mark.
And then just stick an impulse drive on it as well. You hey, just build the Galaxy class. Let's just,
Or how about a flux capacitor? May as well. F it, right?
Nah,
Battlestar
you're-
Galactica.
Now you guys are just mixing sci-fis. All right, whatever.
Why not?
Fine. I want a TARDIS. Okay.
I mean, sure. Big on the inside. Yeah.
Exactly. Anywhere in time and space, then you don't have to worry about these crazy
right.
rockets and stuff. Just
Fine.
dematerialize, even though you have no control of actually flying it, and it can just run away if there's danger. But other than that, it's fine.
Give me a Forerunner key ship.
Oh,
There
yeah.
you go. Hey, EJ, is your dog involved here?
Yes? No?
What's your dog's name?
Titan?
There you go.
God.
Second drive problem.
I tell you, he had a Titan-derived problem when I took him out this morning.
Yeah.
He
Oh my
pooped.
gosh. Yeah. In case you're wondering, folks,
Yeah, dogs
this is
do
our
that.
lighter style news show. We have the serious style of news coming up in just a couple of minutes here. This Week in Spaceflight Twist is our weekly news show hosted by Alicia, where you get the actual news that's happening in spaceflight without whatever this conversation is.
Hey,
So-
we're
sci-fi.
rockets and stuff. Yes, my dog's name actually is Titan. Just
It
for
is
what it's
true,
worth. Yeah. Because Titan rules.
It
It is
does.
my favorite rocket. I think Titan 4. So
She
Good
is a
choice.
beauty. But anyway,
Too bad
yeah.
Titan
Someone's
should
pointing
stay
out we
around.
were live at this point a month ago after the launch of Artemis 1. We've officially passed the 1 month mark since Artemis 2.
Jeez.
My goodness.
jeez.
I don't like it.
No.
Quick, let's go to Twist then. Let me thank the people here, of course, first. By the way, if you want to watch Twist, you don't have to go anywhere. This will automatically redirect you once this show is over. So I guess we'll just go down the line of who I have on screen from left to right. EJ, thank you for joining.
Oh, thank you for having me. Sorry about missing kind of the latter half of that. I had to go to the bathroom and then return some videotapes. Anyway, no, thank you for having me on here. I do appreciate it. I know it's a privilege being on here. I appreciate everybody's time. Thank you very much. I do stream over on Twitch, twitch.tv/EJ_SA. It's also double streamed to YouTube, but not when we're doing Flame Trench because that would be silly. Anyway, thank you. It's fun. Sawyer, back to you.
Thank you. Thank you as well, Max Evans, for joining too.
A pleasure as always, everyone, and thank you very much for coming to hang out with us tonight. We are finally nearing to some more Starship activity, and we may be closer than we think. So cross your fingers and stay tuned.
Yes. By the way, did I say Artemis 1 originally earlier? I then
did.
tried to say Artemis 2 after.
You did. You did.
Yeah, we were
Whoops.
live for Artemis 1 back in 2022 at this point. All this time we go, oh no, EJ needs to bring out his L again for me, doesn't he?
No, I was actually going to say Starbase Live has been live for that long. So no, what you said was not false. Just saying.
It's a
True.
technicality, but I'll take it. Thank you all for joining Ryan Weber.
Pleasure as always. Always fun to get on Flame Trench, talk Starship, talk everything else, and yeah, hopefully I can't wait for Flight 12 at this point. It's gonna be awesome, one way or the other.
Well, according to you, you can wait because it's going to take longer. Sorry, man.
No, you're not. You're not sorry at all.
You know you're
You're not sorry at all.
You shouldn't
No,
be.
no,
That
I'm
was
not.
You'll
hysterical.
never be sorry for that.
No, I'm not. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
As much as we push Ryan Weber's buttons, the one pushing the buttons, pulling the levers for the stream today has been Jay Keegan. I'm Sawyer Rosenstein. I have been your host for this Flame Trench. Have an amazing weekend, everybody. I know I plan on actually finally sleeping with this nice little break from launches after a wild April. I would say wake me up when September ends, but we have Starship in between there, so don't worry about that. Stick around for Twists, everybody, coming up right after this. Have a great one.
And here we go. There's the W. Here's ignition.
Doubling up.
Did it just do a Kerbal?
Back to the moon and beyond.
Put that in the big bag, you know.
Back at home, we all have a lot of work to do, but from here, it sure looks like a perfect world.
Propulsion continues to be normal.
We did have an observation.
Equination.
343 unfolds to go.
It's orange.
Water towers fly!
Bingo! Right in the center. Where's Jacqueline? There it is!
That was surreal.
That's not what we want to see.
No! Oh my God.
Yikes. You bet. Sure. We don't need any more of these.